and start dating today. WeThePeople.dating. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of a partner.
Doc Thompson, MoJo 50.
Missouri cops claim that Amy Nicole Perino punched a man, then hit him with a belt when he would not orally stimulate her.
He was supposed to talk dirty to her?
No, he was supposed to perform a sexual act on her. Here's how it all went down. She got undressed and chased the man around the home before pushing him to the ground and sitting atop him.
First question, could he hear the stereo?
That's when she began to beat him up. He told the cops that when she was on top of him, he was briefly unable to breathe. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, he couldn't hear the stereo, could he?
She was charged with sexual abuse and domestic assault. I'll let you decide if she's the type you want to date.
Okay.
If she's
that's not a woman.
Brad? Are you going to take the beating?
Oh,
or
hell yes.
It's like Danny Trejo had sex with Yoda and the baby was raised by a water buffalo.
Take the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's D-I-A Thrive.com.
Adjust your mojo now. Thank you. The mothership has landed. Doc Thompson. Brad Staggs. The mighty MoJo 50.
Why doesn't Congress just give each district as much money as the representative wants?
That's a good question.
Seriously, why don't they just say you can have whatever the hell you want?
Yeah. Well, the way they're spending, they almost do.
No, I'm serious. Why wouldn't they just say, what would be your objection if I said, Brad, I've got a proposal that we just give members of Congress, we go to Congress and we just allocate as much money as each district's representative wants. As much as, but doesn't matter what it is.
We don't have the money.
I'm sorry?
We don't have the cash. We don't have the money.
What does that matter?
Well, in theory, it should matter. I don't know if it matters anymore. But
see, we already overspend. This year, it's going to be around $1 trillion that we overspend.
Right.
And we just keep doing that.
You're suggesting just write them a blank check and let them.
No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying they do this crap anyways.
That's true.
Why do they even go through the pomp and say, well, hang on there, Mr. Staggs. You know, that's a lot of money to go to your district. What the F do you care at this point if you are $22 trillion in debt? And there is no stopping.
It doesn't seem to be. They just keep going and going and going. Apparently they're of the mindset that if they still have checks, they got to have money.
If I went to any individual member, if I interviewed any individual member of Congress,
all right,
Senate or House, and they sat down here, and I said, why don't we just say members of Congress can take as much money as they want?
Right.
They would all say, well, you got to have a limit.
Right. That's what
they would make some sort of objection. Now, they may say, well, I'd be in favor of that for certain districts if certain people got it for certain things like green or whatever. No. I'm saying at this point, why don't we say any member can, it's just unlimited, right? Whatever you want. They would all say, well, that's just crazy because there's not unlimited funds. But you spend like there's unlimited funds. Has anyone ever challenged that angle of this? We've talked about them overspending before, $22 trillion in debt. We are at day 17 of a government shutdown where the government isn't really shut down.
Right.
And all that means is they haven't approved the budget so they can raise the debt ceiling.
Right.
The debt ceiling always gets raised, whether it's a small shutdown or a long shutdown or right before there's a shutdown. They just go ahead and do it. Democrat, Republican in the House and Senate. It doesn't matter who's in the White House. They go ahead and raise the debt ceiling, just saying, okay, we can overspend some more, right? We all in on it? Good.
When was the last budget that the Congress had that was balanced?
Well, no. Oh, the last time it was balanced, I believe during the Clinton administration.
And it's
not like it was balanced a lot back then either.
Right. So it's all just, it's a paper game. It's Monopoly.
Right. So they don't balance the budget. There really isn't a budget. The years that they have balanced a budget during the Clinton administration, they still use economic trickery.
Right.
Are you aware of the little, that's next year and then that's last year's?
Keep kicking it down the...
Oh, no. It's better than that.
Okay.
What they would say back then is, all right, I see here we're $200 billion over. No. What are those programs at $200 billion for? Well, it's $200 billion. Some goes to Pentagon, some goes to Green, some goes. No, let me see it. Those are on next year's budget. And they go, okay, it's balanced this year. Yes, That's right. Next year rolls around and we go, okay, we're starting off with the $200 billion from last year. No. That was on last year's budget. So even when they do, quote unquote, balance it, the few times they have, they use that nonsense as well. So it does not matter the party. Continue to raise the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling is crap. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
It's there as we're only going to raise it to this. We cannot cross this line. And even back then, it was this is just a temporary. This will get us through until we can balance and then start scaling this back down. No.
It's a mile marker. That's all it is.
Right. They raise the debt ceiling. It doesn't matter who's in D.C., who's in the White House, who's in the Capitol. Does not matter. They continue to overspend. The best years we had during the last 12, 16 years was only overspending about $500 billion.
What's $500 billion amongst friends?
Many years during the Obama administration was $1.5 trillion. Under the year of Trump, it's going to be close to $1 trillion. Some of that's on him, some of it's past administrations. But regardless, we are now $22 trillion in debt. It's not slowing. It's not stopping. They continue to spend. Suddenly, the young idealists like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are suddenly concerned with the debt. How dare you? Don't you understand how much debt we have? We need to spend or tax the top earners 70% to go ahead and pay that down. Not realizing you could take the net worth of all of those people and it would not fund the federal government even for a year.
Which is
do you realize that?
It is stunning. I mean, when you start to think about it's
Brad, you could take the net worth of the top earners in America, the top 1%,
right,
add it up, and it would not fund the federal government for a year. Even if they weren't overspending, it wouldn't do it.
Right.
I think the budget is $3.5–4 trillion. What's Bezos worth? 80 billion?
Yeah,
100 billion.
Yeah. Let's say 90.
Let's say it's 100.
Yeah.
And then the next closest people are 20 trillion down. You got or a billion down. You get a handful of those cats. Great. Guess what? You're at $500 million. You've made it to $500 million.
$500 million.
Right. Remember, we're talking trillions. There's no end in sight.
No.
So I ask you, members of Congress today, why not just go ahead and stop the scam and the bullshit on TV back and forth of you saying, well, we've got a budget and constraints and this shutdown and people or whatever. The insult to injury is you're scamming us on television every day. You don't give a flying fig about any of this stuff. This is real. Somebody eventually is going to have to pay the piper. And if they don't, we are all going to pay for that 22, soon to be 23, soon to be $100 trillion. We are all going to pay that. It doesn't just go away.
And we were talking about this earlier. What does that look like? When everything crashes down, what is the crashing down look like? No one ever touches their money anymore.
Well, and this is really confusing. It's really difficult because most of us don't understand how this works. That debt is owed to somebody. When we say we're $22 trillion in debt, we owe somebody that money. Right. Some of it is to foreign investors. Some of it is to people who've invested, like bonds, U.S. citizens buying bonds, whatever. All of these things. Somebody is owed that money, meaning that debt is somebody else's wealth or income.
Right.
It's not just magically we overspent. That $22 trillion, they may owe me $14 of it and Brad $4 billion of it, whatever it is. We count that as what we owe or what we're worth.
Right.
So when I figure out my net worth and I have $1 million owed to me by the federal government, That's my value. They owe me that. It's no different than a cousin borrowing, $100 from you, and you go, that guy owes me $100. Where's my 100? Are you going to do without the 100 if he just suddenly says, yeah, I'm just not going to pay you?
Yeah. And is that the day that we have the revolution?
We may not even get to that point. We're talking about so much money that touches so many people. You're talking worldwide economic collapse. If that $22 trillion suddenly is defaulted on, a default is coming. I don't know how we pay that off. And by the way, that $22 trillion is a conservative estimate because that does not even include the future things that we have promised to pay. We have over $100 trillion in things that we've promised to pay down the road. Those are those unfunded liabilities.
Right.
It's things that we have, by law, mandated we will do. For example, if we say, all right, by law, you, Citizen Brad, owner of Company X, must do this, 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 and this. And as a part of that law, we will make a mandate that our department of whatever pay this portion.
Right.
It's kind of like the unfunded liabilities that the federal government passes to the states, where they say, nope, you got to do things this way. And the states go, well, that's going to cost us more money if we do it. We don't care. You just must figure it out. And the states do the same things to local cities and counties, even though they hate it when the federal government does it to them. You're like, wait, you're just dictating a law that's going to cost us more money? Yeah, that's right, because we're bigger than you. Bastards. How dare they? Let's do it to our cities and counties. That's what they do. So, back to the federal government.
Right.
You got this $22 trillion plus $100 trillion unfunded liabilities. I don't know how ever pay that off.
Somebody suggested giving away the western states.
If we suddenly said, all right, we got to get serious about this. We got to get serious. The interest on that $22 trillion is huge.
Right.
So you got to get out in front of that. Anyone who's ever had to pay down debt, you got $100,000 in credit card debt or something like that, the interest is a killer by itself. You got to pay to the principal while taking care of the interest. So let's say we said, all right, we're getting serious about this. Number one, we stop overspending. Now we just have to deal with that $22 trillion plus interest. Okay, got it. Okay, what are we going to do? Well, and those unfunded liabilities down the road, that check or that bill comes, due every year for things we promised. You would have to say we need to come up with like an extra $500 billion to really make an impact, or $1 trillion a year to just go to that principal to start paying this stuff down.
Right. Like your credit cards.
Right. Are you prepared to see your taxes go up by everybody, where we're at right now? 25%? 50%?
Of course not. Nobody wants to see their taxes go up 8%.
That's what you'd have to do. You'd either have to cut dramatically to stop spending. So first of all, you got to cut so you're not overspending anymore. We're not willing to do that.
Nope.
Number two, now we truly have a balanced budget here. We take in this much, we're spending this much. Great. Now we got to find some money to pay towards the principal while still paying off the debt. Gotcha. Right. Or the interest on the debt. Got it. So we either cut more or you raise taxes. In order to make it impactful, you're really talking about additional taxes that goes just to the principal of 25, 50, whatever percent of what you pay now. Are you prepared, average person out there, to write a check for $10,000 extra every year?
No.
Every American? 20,000, whatever you pay in taxes, 5,000, 100,000? No. So how does this get solved? Well, debt does not just vanish. Somebody loses.
Right.
Debt is a promissory note of payment. That's really what it is.
Right.
I owe you $100 that I borrowed plus interest or whatever deal we worked out.
It was $150.
I thought it was like 20.
$200.
I owe you that I promised to pay. Now, I pay you or I don't.
Right.
If I pay you, good, it's you have the money. If I don't pay you, whatever that means, you lost the money. Somebody is, if it's not paid, somebody is going to lose. If we default, you just don't get your money.
Right. But the thing is, it's all just numbers on paper.
Doesn't matter.
That's all, or not even on paper. It's all on the computer somewhere.
Doesn't matter. That those numbers are still, they still represent value.
Yes.
It still represents your worth, your monetary worth, what your net worth is. That's what it is. So if it's just numbers in a computer and it's not hard money, it's certainly not gold anymore.
Right.
It still represents that. That's what you are counting on, that as part of your portfolio.
Sure.
I have this stock, I have that. Doc Thompson owes me $100. Most of us don't think of it that way, but that's what it is. You would put that on a ledger if you had, taken it that seriously. Most of us do not have income or investments like that.
Right.
But if you were to really sit down and do your investments, and you had a cousin who owes you $20 and I owe you $50, and all of this, that goes and go, okay, that's my value. I have $50. Doc owes me plus interest or whatever.
So if this debt is never going to get paid off, I mean, it doesn't seem possible by any human standards.
Right.
What happens? Is there a giant reset button that somebody hits somewhere? And who is that?
The government bases it on, we'll always pay our debts.
That sounds nice. It's total
Don't
BS,
worry.
but
the full faith and credit of the U.S. government.
right. Which
Anybody who studied economics of the past, even American economics,
right.
and you go back to Andrew Jackson and the banking days back there in the central bank, the Federal Reserve, the stock market crash of 1929, and the Great Depression, and all of these, the federal government is not infallible. I don't know if you've realized that or not.
What?
Yeah, they make some mistakes.
Hadn't noticed.
If you around Christmas watched It's a Wonderful Life, you probably have a basic idea of how bank runs happen. That it's, the panic as soon as everyone tries to draw their money out.
Right.
It takes so very little to start the dominoes falling. And all it takes, basically, we've set up a pyramid scheme.
Okay.
It's supposed to be very simple. I have investments. I've invested in you. You've borrowed the money. You'll pay me back. It's enforced or not. I take the risk. Great. But when the federal government promises to pay all of that stuff, it ends up becoming a pyramid scheme when they continue to overspend like that. And then they have the power, of course, to tax and to print more money, which devalues it and hurts the economy that way. It becomes a pyramid scheme. It becomes one of those little games. Maybe you had someone tried to get you in when you were, started working your little office pool where they're like, no. And then you sign up 4 people, and then they sign up. Everybody pays you forever and ever and ever. That's fine in theory.
Then Bob the custodian gets screwed.
As long as there are people coming up on the other end, and it never stops, you're right. Everyone will make money. But let's use that pyramid scheme if anyone's ever done. They've called it a different game. The airplane game, I think they called it one time. You put $10 in and then sign up 4 people, and they all put 10 and so on, and you keep moving up a chair.
Right.
They've called it a bunch of different names or set different bases for it. Like one was, like I said, was an airplane.
Bernie
One is
Madoff
actually a
game.
pyramid. Right. If people kept coming up on the bottom end, you'd be fine. But eventually you will run out of people. Even if everybody on the planet eventually threw in, those last 1,000, million, whatever people who got on board are not going to have anybody behind them paying into the system.
Right.
And that's what you're talking about here. So at least save me the charade, the bull crap of you pretending that you care about balanced budgets and such. There's a government shutdown right now, and Democrat, Republican, they cannot get to the cameras and microphones fast enough to tell you how outraged they are. You're dealing with people's lives here, number one. And number two, the full faith and credit of the federal government. Stop it. You don't care a thing about it. Here's what happens, Brad. That $22 trillion, either we will pay that off or we will not. I don't see how we can pay it off.
Betting on number 2.
If we do not, it's just a question of how it will play out. Does there happen to be a certain couple of dominoes that fall the right way? Supposedly, we almost had that when we passed TARP under the George W. Bush administration, which I think was a scam. But if we don't, it just takes a couple of dominoes and the whole thing collapses. The problem is the United States government is so big and so many things tied to it worldwide. You're talking about a global economic meltdown, a truly disaster, 1929 stuff. You're talking poverty worldwide into the, 60, 80, 90 percentile.
You'd never have a run on the bank, though, anymore because the money that you would get is worthless. So you have people like Bezos, who, by the way, is worth $150 million or billion. he would not be able, obviously, to get his money out of the bank. Little guys like us would probably be able to get a significant portion of whatever savings we had out, but it'd be worthless.
But it's not just a run on the bank at traditional where I want hard currency so I can just take it down to the supermarket and still be able to buy milk.
Right.
That wouldn't matter anyways, because with quantitative easing and just printing of more money, that money's worthless. It's Weimar Republic type stuff. But you could call in any debt you have, or you sell off the stock trying to get any penny. Do you have Bitcoin? You start selling those off. And that becomes the dominoes. Just because it's tied to more other types of investing, it's not as much hard currency anymore. Doesn't matter. The principles still apply.
And this is where I think everybody gets lost. We don't have any idea what that looks like when it finally does happen. I mean, is it people with guns in the streets?
That part we don't know. All I know is it's coming. It eventually will happen. It may not be in our lifetime. It might be 100 years from now. Might be 500 years. We could be talking, what's after a trillion? Quadrillion?
Yep.
$500 quadrillion. That's where we're finding out it finally collapsed. I don't know, but it's coming. It doesn't go away without somebody having to pay that debt. Somebody has to pay it off, or it doesn't get paid, and the person who doesn't get paid got screwed. Somebody's getting screwed. Either they're going to come to us citizens and say, you got to pony up more taxes, or the people that they owe do not get it. If the people that they owe do not get the money and it's China or something, do you think China's going to be real happy about that? If it's corporations, do you think they're going to be real happy about it?
No.
It's bad across the board. So Congress, during this shutdown, and there's talking head after talking head on television that feign outrage and the president demanding that, or keep the shutdown going in favor of building a wall. This is the game you have set up maybe 100 years ago. I don't know when officially D.C. became this bad. Was it 100? Was it from its inception? Was it over the past couple of decades? This is the system you've created. The game of bully pulpit and deals being done, not for the American people, regardless of what you say for the television cameras, but for yourself. And who suffers, as always? The people. It's this, the game you've started playing now is kick the can down the road, continue add to the debt, and pretend that $22 trillion doesn't exist. It does. It's real debt. It matters. So tonight, President Trump's going to deliver a primetime address to the nation about the shutdown and about the border wall.
Well, according to CNN, he has a credibility crisis.
Well, and because of that, CNN and... Yeah, right.
I don't even.
Yeah, CNN says he has a credibility crisis. Hello, Pot. This is Kettle. You be black.
Stunning.
Right.
Absolutely stunning.
So, yeah, because of that, a bunch of the networks didn't want to carry his primetime address. They were, quote, skeptical about handing over airwaves for a political statement. Wait, what?
Isn't technically anything the president says, A, political?
Every president.
And B, isn't everything that the networks do, that everything they do is political too?
Yes, exactly.
We've fallen. It's the bearded Spock.
It is political theater. The emperor has no clothes. And by the emperor, I mean all of them.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to that $22 trillion lurking behind the curtain.
It's getting to be Bizarro World. I think we've fallen.
That guy right over there across the hall is responsible for this shutdown because he won't do it my way. The guy across the hall says, or across the aisle says, that guy won't do it my way, therefore he's responsible for the shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
And the people of my district are suffering. Okay, really? And by the way, if we don't raise our debt ceiling, we won't be able to pay our bills. And if we don't pay our bills, we'll default.
It's
if you were really concerned about defaulting or that possibility, maybe you don't. And I'm just going to throw this out here, Benny. Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't go into debt.
Oh, don't be silly.
Or you keep that debt real low, something like that.
Well, the problem, and of course that's government, but with most of us out here in the real world, we have to go into debt to get things like a house or a car. Mm-hmm. Nobody has that kind of money. Mm-hmm. So we're all screwed in that sense.
It's nutty, but they act like this doesn't happen.
But it is. We're all pretending. And when it does collapse, do we keep our houses? Do we keep our cars?
We don't know.
That's
it's not.
Thanks for bringing up all these damn questions this morning.
Well, I mean, you need to know this president's going to address the nation tonight and talk about this stuff.
Yeah, he has no
And
credibility.
the members of Congress, it doesn't matter. This is the truth. I'm giving it to you straight about this, and they pretend like that's not the case. So,
By the way, before you panic, it is Tuesday. It is not Monday. Our little
what are you talking
banner,
about?
little banner up on the screen says
It
Monday.
doesn't really matter to the people just listening.
No, they were bitching about it.
That's Ron's fault.
They're all bitching about it.
Everything's Ron's fault.
It's
Damn it,
the
it's Ron's
national
fault.
debt is Ron's fault.
Well, get your communiques in. I want you to remember that's what's going on tonight as the president gives his primetime address. By the way, Nancy Pelosi, super genius.
She dentures, I think.
She's been lisping a lot
She
recently.
has been.
She and Chuck Schumer are demanding that the networks give them equal time after Trump's speechifying. I don't know if you know this, but Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer love them some Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
Yes, they do.
They really believe that they are special, and they are not. Special in the short bus special, yes.
I'll give him this. They stick together. They
No,
stick
they don't.
together.
Please, they would throw each other under the bus in a second if it benefited them. It's just at this moment, it benefits them to stand against the president. That's all it is.
They've been doing a good job
What
of
a
that
bunch
lately.
of nonsense. All right, get your comments in. We'll get some of those coming up, as well as some additional information on Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi's super genius.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of mojo. Mojo 50.
I'm Mike Opelka from PureOpelka.com. Here's your 2-minute drill. Okay, here's the deal. The president speaks tonight. The Democrats have demanded that they get equal time afterwards. Chuck and Nancy, I don't know who's going to speak, but somebody is. So the president should, in my opinion, release the speech as is customary, and then, at the very end, when they think you're done, start asking questions of people like Chuck Schumer. Like, Chuck, did you really mean it when you said this about illegal immigration?
I want to make it extremely clear that first and foremost, we are committed to ending the waves of illegal immigration that we've seen in the last 30 years.
And then, Mr. President, I would ask Chuck to respond to his own words when he said this.
Fewer illegal immigrants, higher GDP, more jobs, reduced deficit. Who could oppose that?
But we know who opposes it. You and your entire party. So, Chuck Schumer, do you really believe what you said here?
We know that keeping our borders safe from dangerous gang members, drug dealers, and human traffickers is critical.
Well, Chuck, what about sanctuary cities? Listen to the sheriff of Stanislaus County, where an illegal alien killed Corporal Singh.
If he wasn't here, then he wouldn't have been driving drunk, and it wouldn't have been reported to Officer Singh, and the encounter, the enforcement stop, potentially never would have occurred. My point is, why are we providing sanctuary for criminals?
Well, Chuck, why? Why? Okay, Mr. President, ball's in your court. Testudo.
Mike Opelka's 2-minute drill is powered by MoJoWildRice.com. Their wild rice is a superfood, gluten, sodium, fat, and cholesterol-free, yet high in fiber, protein, zinc, phosphorus, and trace minerals. But you're going to love it because it's delicious. MoJoWildRice.com. MoJoWildRice.com.
All right, Doc Thompson and Brad Staggs on your Daily Mojo with our new time slot here beginning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time each and every weekday morning going through 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Got the whole new lineup. Matt Locke, Ron Phillips, the Conservative Cartel, immediately following us at 11. And then Brandon Morris, 2 daily days now, weekdays, from 11 till 1 Eastern Time. Did I do that
Eastern
right?
time. Yes. I get confused when I wake up
Oh, no,
now.
excuse me. 1 to 3 Eastern Time. 1 to 3. I just said 11 to 1 for Matt Locke and the Conservative Cartel. Very confusing.
See, this is what it's like when you wake up in the morning and you're confused and you wonder what time you're supposed to go to work.
Exactly.
There's too damn many people on the road, quite frankly, anymore.
So basically all of the comments on social media so far are the way we look, how we're dressed today.
Yes. They no one else got the memo about wearing
Apparently that
plaid.
$22 trillion is not a concern to most people.
The problem is no one knows what to do about it.
I would say this, can we at least have the conversation? Can people in D.C. at least start taking this serious? I do have one out, honestly, and it's still requires a lot of pain or some pain for those of us that would implement this plan. I believe if we were to get serious in America about this and we were to truly balance the budget, which is a huge first step, and number two, we were to get serious about tax reform and say, because remember, also in addition to this, one of those unfunded liabilities is Social Security.
Right.
There's not a big Social Security bank account that you're paying into.
No.
There was supposed to be that. You know that.
But they borrowed from it to pay off or to pay
everything
for everything else.
And they just say, no, we'll always go ahead and pay Social Security, which so far they have. But
we'll get back to it.
That's part of it as well. So if we were to get serious and balance the budget, number one, which is a huge Herculean task, and I mean serious about it, where it was strict and rigid and we did not overspend except truly in time of emergency, and that being like wartime. And we had a balanced budget amendment maybe.
Right.
With a part of it being they cannot raise taxes to balance the budget.
Right.
That's not
never going to happen.
Right. But if we did that, we did that hard work, and then we said, okay, now we've got this principal and interest from the debt we have. And we were suddenly to get serious about tax reform and implement either a flat or a fair tax. I prefer a fair tax, a national sales tax. And with that, we offered no business taxes.
Right. They just get passed down anyway.
You pass, right. The business taxes are silly anyways. It just is. I mean, tax the people that are making money off of the business. It's pretty simple, right? If it's going to be an income tax. If it's going to be a sales tax, then you don't have to worry about that anyways. They would have to collect the tax at the point of sale or something, but that's fine. If we were to get serious about that and get rid of the quote-unquote business taxes, as opposed to, for the longest time, we had one of the highest. It's still pretty high in what is supposed to be a country based on capitalism and free markets. If we were to do all of these things, markets would love that, because markets are based on long-term projections that are real, facts, but also strangely on emotion. Right? That's how you got, run on banks, or people go,
they panic.
Wow, tulip bulbs. Right?
Yes.
If we were to do that, theoretically, and this is still a big if, the markets would boom. We could make a lot of money. And if we did that, you could start paying that towards and set up some sort of payment on the debt. And that's the reason I said we would all still have to, shoulder that load. I'd be happy to do that if I trusted the government. If I trusted the government, I would be happy to. If they had a real solid way out of this that was not able to be changed, influenced. Maybe I don't trust that they do or would, but yeah.
If they hire Stephen English, he says, fire all 800,000 non-essential government employees, raise retirement age to 70, sell all federal land, eliminate all benefits for non-citizens, 22 trillion solved.
Now, he's right about that. The federal lands, they could do, that would be a hell of a start.
But that's not going to happen either. I mean, this is all fantasy
I don't know if you're going to make 22
stuff.
trillion off of selling the federal lands, but there's a lot of land out west that is.
Yeah, I mean, you'd make a lot off of that, obviously, but they're never going to do any of these things. So, again, what does it look like the judgment day? Yeah. Is it everything's on fire?
It's not
literally?
going to be good. Not going to be good. You know who understands some of this stuff better than we do, and I'd be willing to put them to work, at least let them have a crack at it, is Jacob and the great folks at ERA or Era Capital Management. Jacob and the folks at Era Capital Management, I'm sure they would at least, I mean, these are people that know, they study the markets, they get how the investment works, right?
Yes, they do. A whole lot more than I do. We should have him on and ask him what it looks like when everything goes.
Yeah, might want to spin that a different way and say, how do we get out of it? Trying to offer some solutions here. See, Brad is just waiting for the end. He really doesn't want solutions. He just wants the whole thing to crash.
I'm a realist. But in the meantime, we're living within the rules that we've set up so far. So until we are all dealing in matchsticks and cigarettes and riding horses, we've got to deal within the rules set that we've set up.
It's so funny because most of us understand, even if it's on the small scale, or not on the small scale, but even if we don't fully get it, we do understand the basics of investing when it comes to our finances. Oh, so I only have $400 a month income, and I can't spend $600 because eventually I run it up and they cut off my credit and I'm not going to be able. Okay, got it.
But people like you and me who have forever and ever to get ready for retirement, I mean, we have decades and decades and decades ahead of us.
Well, no, we don't. The problem is when you're young, you still have decades ahead of you.
Yes, you do.
Seriously, I mean, I knew this, and I always thought, oh, well, there'll be time.
Yes.
There will be time tomorrow and the next day, but eventually
runs out fast.
It does. Wait a minute. What?
You look in the mirror one day, you're old, you're fat, you're ugly. You realize your name is Doc Thompson.
And you have no
money.
retirement. If that's you, why not contact Era Capital Management today at eracapitalmanagement.com. Good folks will set it up. So if you're somebody that has been planning for retirement, you have a portfolio, a few $100,000, whatever it is in stocks and investments or whatever, let them take a look at it. And remember, it's the fee, the payment is based on how well they do for your portfolio.
Right. So if they suck at this business, they're not making any money, and they've been in business for a while and they're doing just fine.
Right, exactly. So you can call them and just have them walk you through the step. I mean, it's not like they're going to say, okay, that's $400.
I have the phone number, by the way.
Do you have the phone? What is the phone number?
509-559-6229.
Are you sure?
It says right here on their website, 509-559-6229.
Wait, what was that again?
You're right there. 509.
Yeah.
559-6229. That is the number right there. If they were to go to eracapitalmanagement.com, that is the number they would see right there at the bottom of the website.
Contact them today. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I'm 40 and I haven't saved for retirement. Contact them immediately. They're going to do everything they can to help you out. One of the best ways to do it is at least to get a start. It's not a lot of money, but at least it'll start. Because you're like, well, I don't have $1,000 to invest right now. Got it. Do you have an old 401k? Maybe there's a couple grand in it that you've forgotten about. That's a good place to start. Let them put that to work for you.
You know who's not going to call Era Capital Management?
Who's that?
People who do their own dentistry.
Who do their own what?
Dentistry. People who operate on their own appendix. People who decide they can do it all themselves, that they don't need a professional to do any of it. Those are the people who aren't going to call. If you're not one of the people who actually who has a brain and is not going to try to do his own dentistry.
Era Capital Management LLC. Contact them today at eracapitalmanagement.com.
Era Capital Management LLC is a registered investment advisor. Era Capital Management LLC provides fee-only portfolio management. The advisor may not transact business in states where it is not appropriately registered, excluded, or exempted from registration. Keep in mind that investing involves risk. The value of your investment will fluctuate over time, and you may gain or lose money. No strategy can assure success and is not guaranteed. eracapitalmanagement.com.
See, it's really hard to wear a hat like this.
It is.
With headphones that go over the top.
But it's a good look for you. That it
well,
really
the side
is.
of it up, I look Australian.
Yes, you do.
You
Yes,
know, I got
do.
this hat. It was abandoned by a friend of mine, Brad Staggs.
Would I ever abandon a hat? Maybe I would. Things end up by the side of the road. You never
I'm
know
not sure. In theory, if I didn't have the headphones, it wouldn't look as bad. I was going to say.
It looks like an elephant sat on it. It sure is an interesting look.
It's symbolic, damn it.
Yes,
it's
it is.
symbolism.
Yes, it is.
You don't get symbolism. That's the problem. Symbolism is lost on you.
There's a lot of things lost on
me.
me.
I'm going to do, since it looks so horrible, I could symbolism it right up there in front of me. Look at that.
By the way.
You know what that symbolizes? Hate and despair.
Poor life
treachery. Scammery, thugs, frauds.
Zigging when you should have zagged.
There's that as well.
The left turn you should have made it Albuquerque.
Just say it's symbolism.
Yes. Lori D.
It might be an FU to somebody.
It could be. Lori D says, what I learned today, it's so cute when Doc and Brad brag about their bad life choices, which is pretty much...
just makes everybody feel good, all right?
It really does. We're here to make you
every day you
taller.
go, well, at least I'm not those guys. I'll head into work today. Right now, there's people with that sharp knife going, you know what? I think I can just put that back in the drawer. I'm not Brad Staggs, not Doc Thompson.
Taking the gun out of my mouth.
Ron Phillips does that every day. Good luck with all of that, you a-holes. So, speaking of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they had a meeting at the White House a couple days ago. And, of course, they stopped out front. There just happened to be a dozen microphones set up with cameras out there.
That was a coincidence. Yeah. Lucky for them.
And they stepped up there and decided to make a few comments, and we have those comments right now. Here we go.
Good afternoon, everyone.
So what's your side? Will you please let us speak?
Did you hear that?
Will you please let us speak?
They just stepped up there. It's 6
Good
seconds
afternoon, everyone. We just.
So what's your side? Can you please let us speak?
Douchebag.
They were speaking. They asked a question. Can you just let us speak? Listen, don't ask questions. We'll just tell you. The arrogance is over the top with Chuck Schumer.
Yes, it is. How does he keep getting reelected?
Because he's in New York.
It's because of Amy.
I mean, will you just stop and just let us talk? Write the propaganda that we spew. Write it down.
Afternoon, everyone. We just.
So what's your side? Can you please let us speak?
Tomorrow we will.
Will you please let us speak? And then nobody speaks for a second.
Well, and the worst thing about Schumer doing that, the press is on their side. They're all, hey, what's up? What's your guys' side of the story? Hey, guys.
We love you. Give us propaganda. Shut up and listen to this propaganda.
It's really bizarre. Really bizarre.
It's like yelling at somebody that brings you a yummy pizza going, I want yummy pizza.
It's like an abusive spouse.
No, I gave it to you.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say I love you. Shut up.
Tell me you love me. I just did. I know. That's what they like.
What a dick.
And by the way, thank God for Steny Hoyer. Because he's standing there with Dick Durbin, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi. Leadership for the Democrats there. And thank God for him, because Nancy looks coherent compared with Steny Hoyer, who is, look at this, who's just staring out into space. Huh?
They're Nancy and her henchmen.
Huh?
That's what it is. They're all her henchmen.
It's like the 60s Batman cartoon where they're all dressed the same.
All right, boys, get him.
Pow, zing, zap, bang, zing. Steny Hoyer is just staring out at nothing. Huh?
He's considering his life choices right there.
Oh, no, there's not that much thought going on. Congressman, it's almost time for your bath. Congressman, it's me, Steve, your assistant. Your Congressman, pay attention right here. Your wife is here to talk to you. Hi, Steny. Steny, are you in there? Steny, Steny, we love you.
Soup.
Come back to us.
Soup. I want soup. Who's got the soup?
Steny, it's me.
To the floor, legislation which will open up government.
Which will open up government. The government, the federal government, which will open up government. Thank God Chuck demanded that they speak.
Tomorrow we will bring to the floor legislation which will open up government. It will be based on actions taken by the Republican Senate, bills that have passed on the floor of the Senate by over 90 votes and or in committee unanimously, led by Senator Mitch McConnell. It will also present in a separate bill the bill that Mr. McConnell did for the continuing resolution for the Homeland Security bill until February 8th, using his exact date.
Right.
But we have given the Republicans a chance to take yes for an answer. We have taken their proposals unamended by any House.
Aha, she's got him. Aha, bear trap.
We just took their plan and we're putting it back in motion.
See, Congresswoman Nancy, that may be the case from the Republicans in the Senate, but see, the president doesn't give an F.
And then that's the truth. That is the truth.
Yes, he's a member of the party.
Right.
Do you think they all love and adore him?
No.
No.
Nope.
Trust me. Oh, even though Mitch McConnell would love to see the president gone.
Mm-hmm. I think probably the majority of Republicans up there.
Of course they don't want to see him because he doesn't play the game the same way.
No.
This game that they've set up. Mm-hmm. They know how to win within those roles. I've told the story before. I interviewed Senator Mark Warner from Virginia one time. Mm-hmm. And this was during, I think, Obamacare. And during the interview, he brought up Social Security as like, see, we do this with Social Security, and it's been fabulous. And I was like, Social Security is a disaster. It's a pyramid scheme. It really is a Ponzi scheme. And it's horrible because they take your money basically at the point of a gun your whole life. And if you die one day into retirement having collected nothing, you don't get to give that money to your or direct it to wherever you wanted, to puppy dogs or your kids or whatever. You have a retirement, a savings that is investment separate from this. When you die, you get to designate your beneficiaries.
Yeah.
You don't get to do that.
Right.
Meanwhile, you could do the bare minimum to earn, retire at the minimum age, and live to be 170. They're going to pay your ass forever. Mm-hmm. So I pointed out it's a scam. And he was like, oh. In his mind, he's going, got him. Got him. Because the Social Security was always the third rail of politics.
Right.
In his mind, it's like he and I are debating, like we're running for the same office, and he's like, ha, rookie mistake, ha, trashing Social Security. And he goes, whoa, you want to get rid of Social Security? And I went, yeah, that's right, immediately. Whoa, you want to get rid of Social Security? Yes, Senator, I do. It's a scam. Whoa, Social Security, you want to... He said this like 4 times. And he's thinking
he was trying to come up with the answer in his head, the rebuttal.
Right. He couldn't believe that I was saying yes to this thing, and he thought, no, you just look like a moron. You're not getting it. The president, they're like, whoa, he wants to shut down the government. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does. And they don't know what to do.
No, they have no idea. This has never been done before with them.
I mean, you don't have to like Trump. I'm just saying that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Partisan amendments, but just staying true to what the Senate has already done. Our question to the president and to the Republicans is, why don't you accept what you have already done to open up government, and that enables us.
Open up? Why did she say it that way?
But she makes it sound so simple. Look, this is your plan. Why don't you just accept it? You already wanted to do this. Why don't you just do it?
This is Mark Warner. This is you've already done it or whatever. Mm-hmm. The president doesn't give a flying fig.
Nope.
You people, you claim, oh, he's so combative and he just attacks or whatever. This game doesn't work on him, yet they continue to play it because they don't know what else to do.
No, they have
30 days to negotiate for border security. Democrats have been committed to protecting our borders. It's the oath of office we take to protect and defend. It has been very important.
Oh, Democrats.
Sorry.
And as she said this, she raised her right hand. She said it. I mean, Democrats have, they're serious about border security. I mean, when I think of people that are serious about securing the border,
the Democrats come to mind.
I do. I think all those people who want people that we don't know who they are living here, coming and going freely. Of course,
us, and we have committed resources to it when we were in the majority, and will continue to do so.
They committed resources. Resources, right?
Notice she didn't really explain that. It was a nice sweeping stroke of the brush.
Well, of course they passed legislation that put resources to it.
Yes, they funded the Border Patrol.
Exactly. They funded Border Patrol. Done. Right? ICE got a couple of dollars and you were in the majority, so she gets that blanket statement and people are like, look at that, see? They do care.
No. You're going to let us each speak, please.
I'll yield to the distinguished.
Daddy Warbucks came out again. Hey, shut your mouth.
Listen as they go to ask her another question.
To us, and we have committed resources to it when we were in the majority, and will continue to do so.
No. You're going to let us each speak, please.
I'll yield to the distinguished.
Thank you. So
No. You're going to let us each
It's
speak.
well known on Capitol Hill, Chuck Schumer seeks out the cameras. He is an attention whore.
Yeah.
And maybe just a whore.
bottom line is
and here it is. So again, this is a guy who demanded let me speak.
Yeah.
So you know what he says is going to be powerful. It's going to be big.
To do
right?
so.
Here we go.
No. You're going to let us each speak.
Here we go.
I'll yield to the distinguished.
Thank you. So the bottom line is very simple. We asked the president to support the bills that we support that will open up government.
Pretty much what she just said.
We asked the president to support the bills we support that will open up government.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a biggie. That's earth-shattering right there.
Did he have to read that from a prepared statement? It's written in crayon.
He just wanted to be the last
Senator,
word.
we're going to put it on the teleprompter for you in crayon.
In big letters.
The lady standing over there giving the hand signals is not for the hearing impaired. It's for the senator. Who may also be hearing impaired.
We asked him to give us one good reason. I asked him directly. I said, Mr. President, give me one good reason why you should continue your shutdown of the 8 cabinet departments while we are debating our differences on Homeland Security. He could not give a good answer.
This is compelling. Chuck, this is, wow, okay.
So we would hope that they would reconsider and would support the very bills that passed the Senate, 4 of them 92-6.
Yeah, this is exactly what she said.
Yeah.
2 of them unanimously in the Appropriations Committee with Mitch McConnell's support.
She also mentioned Mitch McConnell. She mentioned the whole thing there.
The only reason that they are shutting down the government is
the government then.
They want to try and leverage that shutdown into their proposals on.
Yes.
Wow, who would have thought?
Yes.
So wait a minute.
That's what the president has been saying.
Wait, he what?
The entire time.
The president's been saying that?
Good grief.
Isn't that exactly the president's Senator, I'm not going to open up the government, raise that debt until you give me what I want. It's like he had this epiphany. He's sitting in the meeting going, he says he won't bargain unless he gets what he wants. That's what all this is?
They have no idea how to deal with this guy. None
moly.
whatsoever. And Trump doesn't care if he gets reelected or not. I really don't think he does.
This is like the guy who goes to the buffet and he's sitting eating the buffet dinner and somebody eating dinner with him sits down and it picks up a piece of fried. He goes, "They have chicken?"
Yeah, it's right up there on the,
the
buffet.
It's the guy who goes
on
to
the table, on the
KFC and
food.
goes, "They have chicken?" All I got was mashed potatoes.
Damn it.
They really ought to, mention that or show a picture. Let me know.
The biggest difference between what he said and what Nancy Pelosi said, he said it in a deeper voice without the dentures.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but by comparison, Amy Schumer is actually entertaining.
Home on border security. We want strong border security. We believe ours are better. But
Are what?
Borders or imagine plans? Okay.
Use the shutdown as hostage, which they had no argument against, is wrong. And we would
He's admitted that over and over.
Yes.
He even said, "Fine, call it the Trump shutdown." Okay.
urge them respectfully to reconsider and support these bills, which are bipartisan, one of which Mitch McConnell proposed.
Sure did.
Mentioned that before. That's thrice now.
Open up the government as we continue to debate what is the best way to secure our border.
Do you see this lasting very long, the shutdown?
We hope it doesn't.
Okay, notice when they get back to the questions, because he had stepped back, he steps up. He doesn't say, let's hear from Steny Hoyer or Dick Durbin.
No.
He doesn't. Okay.
We hope that they will not use the American people, the millions who depend on these 8 departments, and the workers who are either not working or not getting paid as hostages to have a temper tantrum, pound the table and say it's our way or we hurt all these people. We hope that won't happen.
It's our way or we hurt all these people. Wasn't that his point? That
yes,
our way is hurting all those people. Or
he is holding the government hostage, and
so he admits Trump's way would be better than hurting people.
Yes, he does.
Then why not just go with?
And again, they couldn't give us one answer.
Not one.
Why they wouldn't support the first bill that Leader Pelosi and that Speaker Pelosi and Leader Hoyer will put on the floor that will open up the government.
What about Mitch McConnell? See what he's saying?
Go ahead. Let me add this. Let me add this. Almost everybody in the room,
This is Steny
I
Hoyer.
won't say everybody, believes that shutting down government is a stupid public policy.
Yeah.
How about that,
Yeah.
bitches?
It puts 800,000 people who work for the federal government.
Isn't that what Nancy, I think, said? I think Chuck said
At risk. And it puts millions of people who rely on the federal government on a daily basis at risk.
The federal what?
We are going to propose tomorrow a bill that has gotten the support of the Senate. And
so it had the support of the Senate, which I think somebody mentioned that before.
The White House says it's a non-starter, sir, so why move forward?
Because that is our responsibility as a co-equal branch of government to do that which we think is right.
Because it's what we do.
This is what all the reporters should do is just question them. They get so pissed when you go, hey, how dare you?
It's what we do.
I mean,
But the White House says it's a non-starter, sir, so why move forward?
Because that is our responsibility as a co-equal branch of government to do that which we think is right.
Sign the bill. What's the point?
We hope he will compromise. He ought to compromise. We are for border security, but we are also for operating the people's government in an effective fashion.
The bottom line,
Chuck just tapped him and stepped in. Mind if I cut in? Mind if we dance with your dates?
line is very simple. At our last meeting,
yes, here we go.
The president said, I am going to shut the government down.
Yeah, he's several. This is.
They are now feeling the heat. It is not helping the president. It is not helping the Republicans
Feeling the heat.
to be the owners of this shutdown. Today we
Things are heating up.
Yeah, they
give them an
are.
opportunity to get out of that and open up the government as we debate border
Now it's open up the government.
Right, yeah.
security. And to say to them, because he says he won't sign it and use the government as hostage, we should just give in. The American people don't want that. That's bad for our country, and that's not the way to govern.
Yeah.
There it
Asking, we're asking the president to open up government. We are
We're asking the president
10 times.
They've
giving him
repeated
a Republican path to do that.
So the Republicans, for the 8th time, they've said it's their plan.
Why would he not do it?
Okay. There.
because he said he wouldn't. That's why.
You know, it's Mitch McConnell was on board with it.
Is it
Over in the
possible
Senate.
that Mitch McConnell was offering some sort of an answer, some sort of a response, but he was just saying it so slowly that no one noticed? Well,
That there was an addendum to it?
maybe.
It was like this. I agree. He agrees that it's a bad idea, too. And they're already out of the room. Sorry.
The DMV slots are going, damn, he's slow.
This is the seditious, rabble-rousing, liberty-loving, home of fun, entertaining, and compelling talk. MoJo 50.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. As he considers declaring a national emergency on the southern border, President Trump will address the nation tonight, talking border security and the need for a wall.
It will be Donald Trump's first speech to the nation from the Oval Office, and it comes on the 18th day of the partial government shutdown. A dispute over border wall funding is the main obstacle, and the president hopes to use his primetime address tonight and a southern border visit on Thursday to make his case that there is a humanitarian and national security crisis.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston, congressional Democrats trying to pressure Republican leaders to fully reopen the government without any funding for a wall.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says they'll begin passing individual bills to reopen federal agencies this week, starting with the Treasury Department to make sure Americans get tax refunds. The White House, though, took a preemptive step with an official saying they'll change rules to make sure that refunds get paid on time. Also, the National Park Service says it will use entrance fee money to clean up trash and restrooms at some of the nation's most visited parks.
That's correspondent Jackie Quinn. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is expected to meet with China's president at the start of a visit to Beijing, believed to be an effort to coordinate with his only major ally ahead of a possible second summit with President Trump. Well, it's a messy morning commute across parts of northern New England.
We have a warm front moving across the area. It's dropping some snow in the region. We're looking for 2 to 4 inches of snow in most areas. That'll end by mid to late morning, and then we'll look for just some patchy freezing drizzle for the rest of the day.
National Weather Service meteorologist John Cannon. Wall Street futures pointing to a higher open later this morning. Right now, Dow futures up 163 points. S&P futures better by 15. NASDAQ futures up 43. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
Dating today with all the crazies out there has to be nuts.
Yes, it really would. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a place you could go to find people who think like you do?
Like me, like libertarians and conservatives?
Right?
There is. WeThePeople.dating.
Amazing. What a genius idea. This is a site that you can go to if you're single and you are looking for somebody who you know you're going to think the same way, as for, from a political freedom standpoint. If you want to date the right person for you, you'll find them in one place. WeThePeople.dating.
The Adrian Slate Show.
I think a society who has the most freedom in the world and economic prosperity, at a certain point, they get bored with themselves and start to lash out at just about anything. Look at some of the stuff we're concerned with, like Charles Schultz, Charlie Brown Peanut special being racist because Franklin, the black character, was sitting by himself in a lawn chair at the dinner table for Thanksgiving, even though Mr. Schultz added the black character as a way to thumb his nose at the racism of its time. Now they've stepped up their stupidity in calling for the banning of phrases like bring home the bacon, and PETA spearheaded this whole thing. You may think phrases like bringing home the bacon and putting all your eggs in one basket are harmless quirks of the English language, but they could be offending vegans and vegetarians. Instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, why not try putting all your berries in a bowl? So, do we have to now change a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush to a ball in the hand is worth 2 in the... yeah, never mind.
The mothership has landed.
Really have to get to some communiques. I feel like we have been negligent, and I blame myself for that.
It is your fault. Stinky said still one of his favorite movie lines of all time.
Mind if we dance with your dates?
Mind if we dance with your dates?
We were just leaving. What a good idea. If I were in your shoes, I would be leaving.
And who was it that was saying that Schumer was mansplaining? Was that Lori?
Oh, he really was to Nancy. You're right. You're right.
And yeah, no one stopped him. No one, and especially Nancy, didn't step up. MoJo Florida man Nancy and Chuck press conference sounds like the town meeting from Blazing Saddles. Howard Johnson is right about Mr. Johnson being correct. Maybe Blazing Saddles was what we should have
prophetic.
Said everything around. Snarky McSnarkface, Amy Schumer is entertaining. Quick, somebody check Doc Thompson. I think he's having a stroke.
By comparison.
Yes.
By comparison.
I'm your witness on that one. You did say that.
I think I also said, what are you, Mitch McConnelling me?
Well,
I think it's a good he said it's a good idea. Run with it. That we don't do that.
Double doing sleeve. I bet when Chuck Schumer walks into a Royal Farms, he's surprised that they have world famous fried chicken.
Chicken?
Why did you guys
Tell me
start
a chicken?
You guys are just you turns are just jealous of these geniuses. I mean, they pass them when just so we can find out what's actually in them. And I wish we could find that other Pelosi quote, because she said, pretty much it was we have to pass the bill to see what's in the bill, but it was about government. We have to open the government to be able to fund. It was something really.
Listen, these people are not. Some of them are dumb. Most of them are not that dumb. They're caught up in the game of politics. They know. We used to joke about this. It's spin. We call them spin doctors, whatever. They know this.
Yeah.
Why do we allow them to get away with it? Because they came up with a genius plan. Maybe the best thing they did. is us fighting amongst ourselves.
Yeah, it keeps us all busy down here while they're doing
as much as
what they want to do.
Right, as much as they bitch about the divide, and we've got to, and social media, and people are so mean to each other, and they want that. Because the more we're doing that, the more we're away from them. Crazy-eyed kook tweeting, who does their own 401k? Hitler. Who invests his own money? Hitler.
Does his own dentistry, too. Thanks for the, let's see, Nancy's ruining that sweet grandma laugh that I loved hearing growing up. That bitch. Just a dude said that. Get it now, tulip bulbs. Aha. You know what? I'm just going to like that one. I'll just like that. Spanking New Florida, man. I see what you're saying, and I'm with you on that one. Let's just leave it right there.
Yeah, all right. Sounds good. Let's move on here.
We've scoured news platforms and agencies around the globe for today's most profound news headlines. Presenting them now, here's Brad Staggs.
And this portion of your profound headlines brought to you by RidUZone.com. When you're ready to dump the pounds, RidUZone could be your secret weapon. It is indeed government shutdown day 17. It's very, very dramatic. White House officials, though, say tax refunds will be sent out despite the government shutdown. Trump administration officials said yesterday federal income tax returns would indeed go out despite a large part of the government being shut down. Russell Vogt, the acting director of the White House Office of Budget Management, told reporters the development in a briefing. That was one of the big things people were concerned about, that they wouldn't get their tax refund. But apparently the president is smart enough to say, yeah, screw y'all. Wow. Yeah. So you'll still get your government refund. Just stop pooping on the side of the road in Yosemite.
There's got to be a little personal responsibility in this really shutdown thing.
Yes.
And, seriously, if you want smaller government and you don't want money going to welfare and all these other things like me, don't forget the personal responsibility component of this thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Clemson fans, big happy people today. They didn't just beat Alabama last night. They beat the crap out of them, 44-16. First time in history, AP poll history, that a college team has had a perfect score. That goes back to 1936. They have a 15-0 season. Clemson did.
Seriously, nobody has got a perfect record?
Nope. And they didn't play 15 games a season either. So they knocked it not only out of the park, but now they're and I don't even watch college football, but this is a monumental what? Oh, I thought Matt Locke was saying something important. How foolish
why would that ever be the
I
case?
don't know. I thought maybe today was a different, new kind of day.
So I want you to know, I motioned for Matt Locke to come in here, and he just saunters, moseys. Maybe walk with a little bit of purpose so you can comment so we can move on.
He's a saunterer. Were you going to? Did you have something worthy to say? Or
obviously, it's not pressing.
I always say something worthy.
Okay.
I called that from the beginning. Clemson was the best team. Notre Dame sucked. Oklahoma should have never been there. It should have been Ohio State and Clemson last night. Thank you. I'm out.
Thank you for that. At the opposite end of the spectrum, however, a man found out the hard way it's a bad idea to try to rob Pollyanna Viana.
Oh, she's the MMA fighter?
Pollyanna was waiting outside her Rio de Janeiro apartment on Saturday. The thief approached her, threatened to take her phone. She realized the danger. She's a Brazilian strawweight. She decided she was not going to wait for the cops. She used her skills she dropped this guy like a bad habit.
I want you to know I called this from the beginning that Polly would kick his ass and being a strawweight. Should have happened. Peace out.
He said, "Give me the phone. Don't try to react because I'm armed." Then he put his hand over what he said was a gun. She says, "I realized it was too soft, so I stood up. I threw 2 punches and a kick." The guy fell down. And then he sits up and says, "Will you call the police?"
Oh, wow.
I posted this on our Facebook page. So the guy just got...
Oh, my gosh. She jacked his ass up.
Dude got the crap beat out of him by a chick.
Oh, man.
And by the way, she's 26 years old. She has a 10-2 MMA record. Do not F with the Pollyanna.
So what do you think he's come up with?
I would think he's going to probably move out of town to a different country.
No, I mean in jail.
Oh.
Because you got to come up with something else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if he does go to jail, technically, I mean, it was just attempted robbery and unarmed, so he'll probably just get a slap on the wrist.
He's going to be in there for a little bit.
But somebody, yeah. So
you can.
You should see the other two guys.
Big, huge. No. Nope, I got it. So it's technically not a lie. You just say, yeah, I made a mistake. I tried to rob an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
That's all you say, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, who was it? It's not important.
Do you know, though, they're going to know before he even goes to jail.
Oh,
They'll
yeah.
find out. He's going to get the crap beat out of him in jail. And laugh
He was likely
at.
going to be somebody's bitch anyways, but now, poor thing.
Yeah, you kind of feel bad for the guy. In Oklahoma City, a stolen purple penguin statue has been returned to a hotel museum.
Thank God.
Yes.
Thank God.
The large
All is right with the world.
purple penguin statue that was swiped from a hotel in Oklahoma City managed to come back home after police surveillance camera images found a man with the $3,000. Good grief. Someone paid $3,000 for a purple penguin statue. They see him on camera tucking it under his arm and walking away with it.
Sicko.
Yeah, no one steals the purple penguin.
What was he going to do with that thing?
That's a really good question.
He wasn't going to sell it.
No, not after. I mean,
Sicko.
who the hell wants a purple penguin? They don't know who did it, but they're just happy that it's home. No arrests have been made. The answer, 96 packets of human feces, urine, and vomit. What's the question?
I don't know.
The question is, what have the 12 astronauts left behind on the moon? Along with 12 Hasselblad cameras. By the way, one of the Hasselblad cameras came back from the moon, sold for $800,000. So all we have to do is figure out how to get to the moon and pick up one of these Hasselblad cameras.
Oh, the Hasselblad camera. I mean, that's...
They also left a lunar rover, 2 golf balls, a photo, and a U.S. flag, which, by the way, they said is probably bleached white by now because of the sun.
By the way, though that is what Brad just laid out was the plot of that 1980s show, Salvage.
Was it?
Yeah.
What 80s show? There was an 80s show called Salvage? I'm not that old, so I don't know.
Okay.
A California...
It could be an 1880s show and you would know.
A California woman in Oakland was arrested for allegedly biting a jogger.
She bit the jogger?
She bit the jogger.
For what reason?
Well, the jogger apparently pepper sprayed her dog.
Okay, wait.
They have a complicated relationship.
So there's a jogger.
Yes, with a
pepper
dog.
sprayed her dog.
Yes.
Because I'm guessing the dog was being aggressive.
I'm guessing the dog barked at the jogger. The woman got the jogger got scared that the dog was going to bite him. Pepper sprays the dog. The woman who owns the dog gets pissed off at the jogger who just pepper sprayed her dog and bites the jogger.
I stand with the jogger.
The jogger who pepper sprayed the dog originally.
That's right.
Why do you hate dogs? So
I don't.
much?
I hate people who don't take care of their dogs, and when I'm jogging, the dogs run out.
Yeah.
Oh, freaks me out.
Yeah. That's true because you don't know.
I've told the story where I tripped jogging up onto a curb.
Mm-hmm.
One time when some lady's dog came running out at me. He crossed out of her yard, crossed the street at me, and you don't know if the dog's going to attack you or not.
have no idea.
Plus, you're on your own little world jogging, just paying attention or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I see this dog come darting out, and I look at him. I mean, he's like right up on me, and I go to jump up on the curb, and I trip and the whole thing, and I stand up, and I have my headphones on. I just pull them out of my ears, and I go, come on, like this, and the lady yells at me.
What? She yells at you?
Yeah.
What'd she say?
She was like, I forget what she said, but she was giving me a bunch of crap.
That's bizarre.
I'm just jogging down the road. I didn't even say F you about your dog, just out of excitement. I'm like, come on. Like, keep your dog in your yard, right? And she was like, he's not going to bother anybody. He just bothered me.
You didn't know that, though, either.
He did bother me.
I was riding my bike in junior high down the street, and I passed a house. The garage door goes up. A German Shepherd runs out of the garage door, runs directly at me, jumps up, bites my leg, and then takes off back into the house.
I got bit by a shepherd on the ass when I was a kid. I had to show the cop.
Looking back on it, it was weird. The guy took me in the house, and I had to show them the wounds.
No, you're going to have to take your pants off to show me.
Pretty much.
He bit me on the hand. No, pants have to come off. I have to give you a thorough examination.
They did buy me a new pair of pants.
Did he have a Polaroid? Did he have a Hasselblad camera?
He made me lay down.
You said you were riding your bike?
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming it's one of those like one-wheel big bikes with a little small wheel bike on the back?
It was.
Okay.
It was. And the lamplighter had just come down the street to light all of the gas lamps on the street. So it was approaching darkness rapidly. In Tamworth, New Hampshire, a distillery has a new bourbon flavored by beaver secretions.
What do you mean?
I'll tee him up.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Gonna need a clarification
It's a
there.
new bourbon called Eau de Musc. This is actually from last year, but I couldn't resist. It's flavored partly by the secretion from a beaver's castor sacs. Where do you find a beaver's castor sacs?
Downtown. Hey, I'm looking for some beaver's castor sacs. You know, I get some of those.
Apparently, they're used as a flavoring on a bunch of stuff.
Yes, they are.
They're on the FDA list of ingredients that are recognized as, quote, generally recognized as safe.
Generally recognized. Well, you get a bad one now and then, you know, right?
It was, you don't want to know what happens if you get a hold of a bad.
And what's it called? Something, the bourbon?
Eau de Musc. It exhibits bright and fruit qualities. Raspberry.
Dude, men will drink anything. You know that?
Oh, yeah. Remember the beer
No.
that was...
Yep. Remember the toe?
Oh, yeah.
The
what
toe
the hell
drink?
is wrong with people?
Would you try the Eau de Musc?
I mean, who hasn't had a beaver's castor sac in their mouth?
I mean, would you try that?
I would smell it.
What if it had a toe in it? Like the frozen toe. What was that called? That drink in Alaska?
Yeah, the toe something. The sour toe.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Would you try that with the sour toe?
I don't know. That's just... I don't want somebody's old toe in my...
What if it had a Chicago gutter water chaser?
Shut up. Damn. Coming up, we're going to do a transgender update, the first one for 2019. But first, did you know that Elvis Presley, who, by the way, it's his birthday today, he was famously a fan of the Sleeping Beauty diet. It's a diet. It sounds stupid, but
I'm going to lay here and you come over and kiss me.
It's a diet where the person is sedated for days at a time, and the idea behind the diet was that a sleeping person would not eat.
That does sound pretty.
It does.
And you get a lot of sleep.
I kind of like that idea.
That may be, wow, and no the blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
So maybe you don't want to get Riduzone. If, in fact, though, you can't sleep for days at a time, but you want
That
to...
may affect your employment status.
Yeah, it could
you know.
probably have an adverse effect on things if you still want to get rid of the excess fat baggage.
But you know what? Do you care if you're employed?
Not really.
You're sleeping.
Yes. And you're having fabulous dreams and nobody's messing with you. You're losing weight.
So I need a doctor-induced coma.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a good idea. That's going to be pretty pricey, though.
It is. In the meantime, however, Riduzone could be your secret weapon in the battle against being a fat pig.
That's going to be a good plan for you. Yeah, Riduzone's working for me. Matt Locke has lost a whole bunch of weight because he was becoming the fatty boombalatti, but he's doing well with it. Brad's doing well with it. I have made a decision. I got to drop some pounds first part of the year. If you are in that situation as well, try Riduzone, R-I-D-U Zone, Riduzone.com. Great product based on something called OEA.
You could lose a quick 8 pounds. You know how?
Cut off my head.
Yes,
I know that.
exactly.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
exactly what
Dad
you
joke.
could do. The OEA, it not only can help boost your metabolism, but it also can help you burn more fat. So it basically helps you avoid sport eating. That's when you know you're full, but you keep eating just because it tastes good.
Right.
Everybody loves to sport eat.
Yeah. Just get it today. Riduzone. It's going to make you feel fuller, and it's also going to boost your metabolism.
Yep.
Fortunately, I had the Riduzone over the weekend, and my wife, she's just like... We go to the coffee shop to work, and I get just coffee, nothing in it because I don't want the calories and whatever, and I'm doing real good. And she goes, I'm just going to have a brownie. I've earned it. Do you want something? No.
Did you backhand her?
I didn't. I mean, I had to ask and make sure they didn't have a beaver's castor sack on it. But since that wasn't there, I was able to resist everything else. I mean, if you have the Riduzone, you're likely not going to be able to stave off the temptation of a beaver's castor sack.
That's what I'm saying.
But aside from that, it will help you avoid sport eating. It's Riduzone.com.
Promo code DOC. Did you know 2/3 of people on the earth have never seen snow?
Interesting.
That's your fact for the day.
And now, An important transgender update.
Having a penis and competing as a woman is not fair. This according to Martina Navratilova.
Good for her. She's right.
Tennis legend.
Isn't she from the Isle of Lesbos?
She definitely is. I saw her in the airport in L.A. one time. She's a handsome woman. She was forced to apologize for comments she made on social media saying that natural-born men who, quote, proclaim themselves female and, quote, should not be allowed to compete against women.
She's right.
It's just stunning that you...
And hold on there for a second, LGBTQers. Hang on one second. If you think that's wrong, if you side with you can be anything you say you are and all of that, I am happy to agree with you. I am happy to say women can have penises, and I'm not talking about in the old way. Not owned, right. I mean like attached. Well, that doesn't make it much better, does it?
They can get an addictomy.
I'm happy to say men can give birth and all. Fine, whatever. Crazy. I am fine with that on one condition. That all gender-based sports leagues, events, bathrooms, nights out, all of that gets wiped away. That there is no ladies' night, there is no women's soccer league, there's no WNBA. You all compete with each other regardless. You do that.
You're not suggesting getting rid of women's night at the bars, right?
Yes, I am.
Whoa. No, you got to give the women the free booze.
No.
Oh, yes.
I'm not doing it.
It makes them far more pliable.
Listen, they're pliable anyways, and they're going to drink. What do you think? They're not going to drink? Please.
Her comments came in response to a question from a Twitter follower who asked her about transgender women in sport. Clearly, that can't be right. You can't just proclaim yourself a female and be able to compete against women. As according to the 9-time Wimbledon champion, there must be some standards, and having a penis would not fit that standard.
And the whole reason we have women's leagues is, generally speaking, women are not as strong, fast, muscular, all of these things.
How dare you?
I said generally.
How dare you?
Therefore, listen, if you said, tell you what, we're going to open up the NBA, the NFL, there will be no women's limit. Women can join those leagues, and but we will have no separate leagues for women. How many females would be, based on their talents and abilities, playing in the NFL today?
Yeah. There you go.
Not one.
No.
The only exception you may have, it's a big stretch, is kicker. Maybe.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you can do that.
I mean, that would have the ability to do that. Is any woman going to be able to beat all of the men out there? You know how many men are great that still don't make the NBA or NFL?
Bears would have been happy to have a female kicker over the weekend.
That's true, too. Good point.
In other news, road chicken caused some problems in Alabama over the weekend.
People playing chicken?
No, an Alabama sheriff's office had to warn people against eating chicken that tumbled onto a rural highway after a truck wreck.
Oh, well, it's chicken.
18-wheeler crashed on Alabama 35 on Sunday, spilled boxes of chicken tenders in Cherokee County. Near the Georgia line, motorists stopped and began picking up the food, which they
was
said...
it packaged?
I would hope so. It said
what
boxes.
Am I kidding? If it was on the ground, I'd still probably eat it.
They say it created a traffic hazard. There were so many people stopping and picking up the boxes.
Was it cooked chicken? Were they transporting it like frozen chicken?
They posted a notice on their Facebook page asking people to quit picking up the chicken.
Please don't eat the brown chicken.
The notice says the food isn't safe to eat after hours on the ground.
I mean, you cook it enough.
Chicken is chicken. Yeah, I was going to say, you stick it in a microwave, it's going to kill whatever's on it.
And by the way,
yes,
where do chickens spend most of their life? On the ground.
That's right, eating dirt and stuff.
Right.
So
you tell me it's not good on the ground.
Yes,
please cook it enough. It's fine. In fact, I think that's the secret of KFC. You just cook it long enough.
Yes.
It all goes away. By the way, Chuck Schumer went, they have chicken? Really?
So have you ever heard of, and I showed you this more, the Planned Parenthood wireless plan?
This is really amazing,
Bizarre.
Folks. Yeah. What was the, I can never remember the old one that started out.
Credo.
Credo Mobile, which we told you because we do the Patriot Mobile accounts. Brad, doing some research, just stumbled on something the other day.
Planned Parenthood wireless.
Planned Parenthood launched a wireless service years ago.
It was, I think they used somebody else's, but it was, this is way over 10 years ago. Every time you paid your cell bill, a portion went to Planned Parenthood.
It didn't work out so well for them. I don't think it's still around. For some reason they weren't able to keep it going.
No.
But they had this plan, and Credo, and it was probably, what year was that?
About 2007.
Okay, because Credo Mobiles was started in leading up to 2010.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that was a couple years later. Yeah.
In response to 2010. That's what it was. 2010, we saw a pretty solid Republican swell into Congress, and Credo Mobile said, hey, we can do something. So they started the company. They started funneling money into races, and they actually won some in 2012.
Yeah.
The races that they put money into.
Yep.
So that's when the great folks of Patriot Mobile said, we got to just do something to balance the books here. These people are, and they've come up with an idea. We just got to catch up with them.
And it's working. When you pay your phone bill every month with Patriot Mobile, they donate a portion to conservatarian causes. Simple way you can help drain the business-as-usual swamp in D.C. You can keep your existing phone, the number on your phone, but you can get a new one if you want to. If you're active-duty military, a vet, or first responder, you get an additional 10% off. They'll waive your activation fee. They'll give you a foot rub. They'll even buy out your existing contract up to $500. Whew. Man,
I'll bet Maury would give you a foot rub.
Why not? Hey, if it brings in a new satisfied customer, do the right thing and help drain the swamp. PatriotMobile.com/doc.
PatriotMobile.com/doc. Sign up today.
It is Tuesday, January 8th, 2019. Elvis would be 83 years old today, but he's been dead for a very long time. David Bowie would be 71 today, but he's been dead now for 2 years, almost 3. And Kim Jong-un. This is how old do you think Kim Jong-un is?
32.
He's 35. You just don't think of him being that young.
Yeah.
He's a youngin.
He's been there a while now. What's he, 6 years? 8 years?
Yeah. In 1877, he fought his last battle.
1877?
Mm-hmm. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?
I don't know.
Crazy Horse.
No, that's not who it is.
Yep. I think that's the same year they started building the monument. It's still not quite finished.
By the way,
big though, man.
Who was it? Who is it?
Crazy Horse.
That was a real person? Like back in the... Oh, you'll understand the confusion. I thought you were talking about Sarah Jessica Parker.
Hell, in 2000, 19 years ago, guess what happened on this day?
I don't know.
The Music City Miracle. I was there. That was the Buffalo Bills playing the Tennessee Titans. That was an amazing, amazing play. It was the first time the Titans had been in the Super Bowl.
I don't care. It's all dead to me.
Oh, it was amazing. Those are your headlines.
A free exchange of ideas. MoJo 50.
Senator Elizabeth Warren, fresh off of drinking beer on Instagram with her homies, has now begun targeting the right as she explores a 2020 run for president. Let me explain. Every good presidential campaign needs a target. Typically, the Democrats target President Donald Trump. But with everyone else on the left doing that, Warren, it appears, has, for now at least, turned her attention to former Representative Trey Gowdy from South Carolina. Warren, citing a Daily Caller article that listed the law and lobbying firm that Gowdy would be joining, claimed that Gowdy really only left Congress to become a lobbyist. Warren said, quote, Gowdy foamed at the mouth with power in Congress, then retired because he claimed he didn't enjoy it. Now it's clear. Trey Gowdy just wanted a fat lobbyist paycheck. That should be illegal. She then called for a lifetime ban on lobbying by former members of Congress. It's no secret that there's no love lost between Gowdy and Democrats. Going as far back as his probe into Benghazi, Democrats labeled his investigation a witch hunt done solely to disrupt Hillary Clinton's campaign. Unexpectedly, perhaps, to Warren, Gowdy met her criticism head-on by tweeting, quote, I'm not lobbying, not now or ever. Perhaps you were cracking open a beer when that was announced. Don't mind your criticisms, just be more sensitive to facts. The last time Warren was sensitive to facts, it ended with a DNA test and unverified scientific results, concluding with a scant amount of evidence that she may have at least one Native American ancestor 6 to 10 generations removed. It probably wasn't the response she was expecting then either. And that's today's Reality Check with Susan Knowles.
Hey, it's Brad Staggs with big news. MoJo 50 is coming to you and to your town. It's all part of our way of helping the veterans in this country. The MoJo 50/50 tour is 50 states in 50 days, and we're traveling across the country in a bus. I don't know what could go wrong. If you go to MoJo5050tour.com, you can find all the details, including to tentative stops and how you can be a sponsor. MoJo 50/50 tour, MoJo5050tour.com.
Mark Thompson and Brad Staggs, your daily mojo. So did you catch Dominic Izzo's show last night?
I did.
Debuted.
I was listening to when he came on the air. Matter of fact,
So he was actually on the air.
Yes, he was on the air.
It wasn't just him talking to himself.
No, he was not.
So
just
if
talking
you were
to
to call into his show,
yes, yeah, he was.
You would also be on the air
on
when he
the
talks
air,
to you.
Yes, live broadcasting to millions of people across the beautiful United States of America.
So there would be a reasonable expectation that if you called in when he said call in,
yes,
and he's on the air
Yes.
and you're talking to him, that you too would also be on. I mean, that's a reasonable expectation.
Yes, you would think that an average citizen in this country with a decent IQ would know just that. You know,
Ron, did you hear the segment I'm referencing?
Oh yeah,
Ron.
I cringed every time.
Somebody called
Ron
in
has a date with his counselor today just to get him past
They just refused to believe they were on the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So are those podcasted yet? How does that work?
They are. It's podcasted live.
Okay, so if you miss the live stream, any of the live shows, then it goes right to podcast, is what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it streams to the podcast platform live. So as soon as the show's over,
It's automatically posted.
Love it when you talk dirty.
So, and where can people find all the podcasts?
They can go to Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com.
It's like speaker with an R.
That's right. Search for MoJo 50 Radio.
Another R.
All of our shows are there, but they're also podcast all over the place wherever you can find
Two R's.
podcasts. Yeah.
Like an R. It's like speaker with an additional R. By the way, somebody who wouldn't understand that they're on the air when they call in, when a person says call in on the air, probably would try to go re-speaker. Repeaker.
Where do you put the other R? Is it speaker? Speaker.
Spreaker.
If you brought your dog along, you still had to bite a jogger yourself. You're doing it wrong, by the way.
Get the comments in.
Just a pilgrim.
All right. I have got to call foul, and we have got to come up with a better system. Did you see Kevin Spacey yesterday in court? Folks, this has got to stop. It's frustrating for me because the public has a right to understand what's going on in courts. It's part of our transparency. If somebody is arrested for something, that the trials, the information, as much as we can, should be public. However, when you haul Kevin Spacey into court over what he's accused of doing without the perspective, you are also, well, no, hang on, let me back up. In today's world, especially where your image, not just celebrities, but anybody's image, matters so much, you can instantly ruin a person's life by just accusing them.
Yes. He tried to, his lawyer filed a motion to not make it required that he be there, but the judge said, nope, you're going to be here.
And that's difficult for me because celebrities should not have special consideration or attention.
No. And
courts should be as transparent, like I said. That's the reason I said that. But it's not just Kevin being a celebrity. If today some little girl down the street accuses you of molesting her or something like that, and they haul you into court, and it turns out a day later she breaks it, I just wanted to punish Brad because I can't have him, or whatever crap they do, which things get made up.
Yep.
No one's going back and going, oh, I feel so bad for Brad. No. He was accused falsely.
Nope.
That's not what happened.
And why didn't the accuser have to show up? If the accuser got to show up, and I think they didn't require him to, which was wrong.
I think in those cases, you're right. The accuser should have to show up as well.
By the way, ironically, Kevin Spacey did come in the back door.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did.
Interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, the accuser should have to show up. But throw out and maybe you're a bad example because you're a quote-unquote celebrity as well. But average person, average town, not on the air, not a quote-unquote celebrity that gets accused of something. They bring him into court. It ends up on social media everywhere like never before. There's got to be some sort of consideration. We have to figure this out. They're ruining lives over accusations that may be untrue.
Yeah. And they did. There was really no reason for him to be there. He had a legal representative, and it's not like Kevin Spacey is going to flee the country, although Roman Polanski did do it. But Kevin Spacey's I mean, they could just have him surrender his passport.
Well, and I would hesitate too. So let's say you say there's got to be a punishment for falsely accusing people. Let's say there's greater emphasis put on falsely accusing. I've always said if you falsely accuse somebody, you should have to serve the term or same punishment that they would have gotten.
Yeah.
So if whatever you're accusing them of, they would normally get a year in jail, you got to get a year in jail. If it's put to death, if it's then that's what you have to get. The problem is if somebody recants or knows that if they recant and they're going to get punished, they're not going to do it. They're going to let you sit in jail for something you didn't do.
Yeah.
It's difficult enough to have somebody come forward years later and say, I lied because I was under pressure, whatever.
Right. We've needed tort reform for years. And again, that's not going to happen in this country either because it's a bunch of lawyers running the country who are not going to eat themselves.
This is so frustrating. Kevin Spacey, it was ridiculous. To have anybody called into a court like that, and again, you're putting his career in jeopardy. Kevin Spacey is accused. That's it.
Yeah. And what he's accused of is bizarre anyway. I mean,
so first of all these people accused, right? There's not proven. But accused, this is not the case where he was accused of lying on top of the teen boy.
No, this is the 18-year-old kid who happened to be the son of a local news anchor. And
so explain what happened.
So apparently this guy he's 18 years old, the accuser. It's in the bar with Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey in here standing by the piano.
Now, did they arrive together? They just were there?
Apparently he was, Kevin saw him. They're in the bar. Buys him drinks. Kid's only 18, but you have to be 21 to drink, but he's in the bar. So it's not Kevin Spacey's job to vet the age of this kid. And who knows? The kid may have said he was 21.
Well, if the kid was in the bar and drinking, then there is a reasonable expectation that
he's 21. Yeah. So at some point or another,
so he lied. He was already false pretenses.
Yes. So some point or another, Spacey's flirting with the kid and ends up putting his hand down the kid's pants, fondling him, and the kid is not, according to what I've read, is not protesting, but instead is actually either taking a video or a still of it and sending it to his girlfriend saying, hey, Kevin Spacey's hitting on me.
He's so crushed.
Yeah. I mean, he was obviously this was not. This was not.
Let me just say it is wrong if Kevin did that to him and the kid did not want it.
Right.
You don't have to be scarred for life for it to be wrong.
Right.
Correct. If you don't want something, you don't want it. However, it's not being presented that way. It's being presented as Kevin Spacey attacks a kid in a bar. And they're conflating it with the story of the kid who was underage as well. All of this nonsense. Prosecutors, judges, juries, the judicial system at large needs to start looking at these cases individually even more and stop, as prosecutors often do, trying to get the cases where they are elected, reelected by racking up wins.
Yes.
And start looking at the cases and what matters. This is a situation where the kid obviously was not too upset by it.
Didn't seem to be.
If you're taking pictures of that. And well, number two, how did Kevin put his hand down his pants? Those logistics are not easy.
No, they're not. I should imagine thinking the
Listen,
same thing.
I've tried to put my hands down a lot of people's pants.
And it takes some effort.
It does. Even people that want you to.
And it takes
you're like, you're going to lean on my...
there you
back.
go. I think I can...
Yeah. There had to be
Is that a cop?
Maybe he was wearing shorts. Maybe he was wearing sweatpants. Which I do love sweatpants on a woman, by the way. Just an aside.
It's still the logistics are
yes,
not...
it's very tough.
I mean, if he's wearing cargo pants... and sitting at the proper angle, position, it's still, that would be up his pants. That's a pant leg.
You still got to work for it.
You still got to work for it. And did it say he touched his junk?
It did say, yeah. I believe it did say he fondled his genitals.
Did the kid have underwear on? Do you see what I'm saying? The logistics of him actually fondling the kid's genitals, and the kid had pants on in a bar full of people.
Yeah.
Where the kid was like, no, how difficult, I almost said hard, how difficult would it be to refuse that and have that not happen?
Yeah, how about saying stop, no, don't, instead of taking a picture and sending it to your girlfriend?
Right. And the reason I bring this up, again, wrong is wrong. Even if this happened, wrong is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But the kid is likely looking for a payday of sorts.
And
maybe Kevin was looking for a payday. Hey-o! That's a Clark bar.
The mother, too, plays an interesting role in this, being a news anchor in that town. She is very emotional over the whole thing, which, it's her kid. I can understand that, but there's something else.
What are you emotional about?
The kid is 18.
Kevin didn't roll into an elementary school and attack your son.
Right. No, he's 18 years old in a bar.
Your son is 18. Oh, and he's some shrinking violet? Your son is drinking in a bar. He's a victim.
Well, she wants to play that card. She was crying on camera and crying when
What happened?
I know. It's strange. But how many people can say they've been hit on by...
Brad, seriously, even if it's the ladies. So you're fondled. I know it may be troubling to you and upsetting, and some people a little more unstable. It may be really upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
But for most people, you're like, I don't want that. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
You're going to carry it 30 years ago. Ah!
Although, if Kevin Spacey was trying to put his hand down your pants, would you let him just for the story?
Again?
See? Just for the story.
Give me the scenario. Lay it out.
Oh, let's just have the same scenario. You're at the bar.
I'm at a bar.
You're standing at the piano with, and it does help if
Is
they're
it a piano or an organ?
It's I believe it's a piano. There were no. There could have been some flowers on it.
Was it a player piano?
It may have been.
Okay.
So you're standing up, which does make the whole thing easier. And
Okay.
Kevin's there, and he's he's buying you
I have a couple drinks in me?
Yep. And
He's
just,
buying?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Classy place or just an average bar?
Kind of dark.
Okay.
No one can really see you, so it's
Okay, we're
it's
in the
going to be
back.
between you and him.
Right.
And so then he puts the move on. He kind of slides his hand over.
No, real quick, hang on. Leading up to this, it's been fun though the whole time.
Oh yeah.
And we're just goofing.
He does seem like he'd be kind of fun at a party, doesn't he? To sit around and talk with, have a beer with.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, it's not like I'm hitting on you, creepy.
Right. No, I think that he's probably just.
We're just having a good time.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be able to you'd be able to chat up House of Cards with him.
Right. Talking House of Cards. And I mean, is it fun, over the top?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. You're having a good-
Jovial.
you're having
it's
a good-
jovial.
yes, of course.
Non-threatening.
Right.
And he's just like,
I mean, good God, you tower over him, so you'd be able to.
Okay.
You'd be,
And we're telling anecdotes?
Yeah, you're telling anecdotes, and you're having a big time. Maybe drinking mint juleps.
If you knew the difference between an anecdote and an anecdote, he'd still be alive today. Okay, so that's the scenario. And then what happened?
And then Kevin makes his move. He kind of reaches over, just puts his hands on your.
Is it around me or just right down the front?
I think he probably starts on the arm and just kind of slides down. And he's telling you the House of Cards story as he's just moving. Think of yourself in the backseat with the Poltitsky twins.
So
same thing.
It's the Candy Cousins.
Same thing.
So he gently works his way down into massaging, and the next thing I know, it's in my pants.
Yes.
How long is it there?
How
long is it?
That's it's there for a short period of time.
Of course.
Yeah. Do you look over? You say, "Look, Kevin."
Does the caressing continue at that point, or is it just down
I think that's
there
up
with
to you.
incidental contact?
I think that's up to you at that point. What do you do at that point? Do you say, "Look, dude, I'm flattered, but I swing from the other side of the plate," or do you freak out?
Because I'm looking for the story, and I'm looking for a payday.
Well, yeah, well, you're there. You might as well.
And I don't mean a payday like you're going to court or pay me. I just want...
You want a candy bar.
Can you just retweet this? You got a bunch of followers. I need to grow this show.
Yeah.
I'm willing to take one for the team.
Do you mind?
For Pete's sake, Ron needs to eat here. You know, come on.
Yeah. So,
we got mouths to feed.
Yeah. Maybe you get a selfie with the two of you. You let him do it.
That's the trouble.
Yeah.
No, I mean, clearly I'd be like, Kevin, man, come on. And I remove his hand.
Yeah.
But, I mean, first of all, I wouldn't be outraged. I'm like, dude, I'm just not interested in you. Remember, remember?
Yeah.
The guy Glenn I knew hit on me back in the theater, and I was just like, it's just like a chick that I wouldn't want that's not attractive. Okay. And I'd be like, no, whatever. But it's not I'm going to take him to court, but I'd be like, hey, Kevin, come on, man. You just touched my junk. Can you at least do me a solid and give me a couple of tweets? Come on, man.
You do reach an age.
Hook a brother up.
You do reach an age where you're willing to negotiate.
Would you be outraged? I don't get the outrage.
I don't either.
You know what would be worse? The creepy hitting on me. If it was like blah bitty blah bitty blah.
Right.
Where it's just like, come on, Kevin, I've told you, just stop, leave me alone.
Right. Can we just talk about House of Cards? Tell me about that one episode where you went out and you pushed her in front of the train. Did you really push her in front of a train, or was that like a fake thing?
How do we know it wasn't a joke?
Huh?
I could tell you the Father Nelson story again.
Half Nelson, full Nelson.
Right. Do you know the Father Nelson joke? You go behind somebody, you put one hand up under their arm in the back of their neck, and you go, what's this? It's a half Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
You do the other side, and you go, it's a full Nelson. And then while you're still in that position, you gently thrust into them a couple of times. You say, what's this? And it's the
Father Nelson. Hey-oh.
It's like priest raping people. That's what it is.
There's nothing that says comedy like a good priest rape.
Priest rape joke.
Yeah.
And in some circles, by the way, the additional punchline, the secondary punchline, it's a Charles Nelson Riley. Ho-ho! So, how do we know it wasn't like that? Like, I could imagine this. Your old pal Doc Thompson. You should.
All right.
Imagine Doc Thompson's out and about. I'm in a bar. It's in the back. I'm near the organ or piano. So people come in and go, oh, my gosh, Doc, I listen to you all the time. I'm like, hey. I mean, I want to hang out with people, right? I've been known to do that. So we hang out. We're drinking a beer. We start telling jokes.
Yep.
And I give them the Father Nelson joke.
Right. Do they?
No, up until that point, they're fine with it, right? I do the half Nelson, and they're like, yeah, it's half Nelson. They're fine. And then they get, because they're very sensitive about, being hit on or uncomfortable with homo-type sexual activity.
Right.
That could happen. That could absolutely happen. And they go like this, okay, well, okay, thanks. Hey, that's great to meet you. And they leave.
They take off.
Doc Thompson thrusts his pelvis into man at bar.
Yeah. Maybe you should... Maybe in a situation like that, you should say, hey, do you mind if I touch you?
Right. I wouldn't think to.
Right here.
By the way, that's not the type of joke I usually lay out there. I mean, pretty early on.
Right.
But I could see it happening.
It's a go-to after a few drinks.
So how do you know? Because I'd love to hear more of this kid's story. Was Kevin joking? There's some like knock-knock joke that ends with your hands in someone's pants going, I said sausage.
Knock-knock. Who's there? My hand's in your pants.
Exactly. It's a fun joke.
My hand's in your pants, too. Shut up.
It's an effective dating tool there.
It works so well.
I'm going to try that when I get home. Honey, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Hand in your pants.
Hand in my pantsuit.
Ha, get it?
And privileged Lucky fucking shut up. We want to talk about Kevin Spacey.
Knock, knock, honey.
Who's there?
Beaver Caster Sack.
Beaver Caster Sack.
Aha, my hand's in your... Just call me Father Nelson.
Man, it's getting warm in here.
It works. By the way, Father Nelson joke only works man to man.
Yeah, it really does.
Otherwise, you're going to do half Nelson, full Nelson, and then Harvey Weinstein. It doesn't translate quite as well. So I don't know. I'm just tired of the character assassination. I mean, I think Kevin Spacey is probably not a great guy. He seems pretty skeevy, not because of the homotype sexual thing. He just seems, I mean, you're hopping on the 14-year-old boy if that's true, but again, that's not been proven.
Right.
It seems like he's...
So wait, you condemn the media for doing, and then you say...
No, I'm just saying the whole thing, he seems... His personality, from what I've seen, those things wouldn't shock me.
No.
But I'm willing to meet him and assume, that he didn't do those things.
And again, even if he did put his hand down the guy's pants, the guy was 18. If he's in the bar when he's 18, it's the bar's fault for letting him in without the ID. It's not Kevin Spacey's fault. So I don't know.
Well, it wasn't an underage thing, though. That's the difference.
No, it was not. So I don't know where the crime is other than poor judgment. But, that's
I had a friend who told me the story years later. He's probably, I don't know, about 60 now. 20-some years ago, he told me the story that he was just out of college, maybe 25, 26, somewhere in there. And he goes to a bar, picks up a little young lady in the bar drinking with him, gets home, and it's the scene from Animal House. Remember the one where they're in the room and she admits that she's actually underage?
Oh, yeah.
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 He's actually, I think they were that was when they were outside in Animal House. But anyway, after the deed has been done and it's 3 a.m, she's like, well, I have a confession to make. I'm only 15 or 16 or whatever age she was. And he was like, blah, 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 blah. So he says, excuse me while I go to the bathroom. Immediately calls a friend of his attorney. He's like, she's in a bar. I didn't know. She didn't tell me. And he was like, so give me the scenario. So he lays it out. He's like, I'm in the bar. She's, there. She's drinking. Now she tells me she's 16, whatever. And he goes, so she was drinking. There was a blah, blah, blah. Yep. And he goes, do it again. Because you're clear at that point.
Yeah, you'd think. Barbara Jack Hole said he was working as a busboy. I'm not drinking. He was working, but I read that he was there in the bar. So who knows? I mean, neither one of us were there. So who knows what the hell happened?
The kid was the.
That's what Barbara Jack Hole just said, that he was working as a busboy.
That's why I said it doesn't necessarily matter in that case if he's 18. Because it wasn't a story about underage.
Right.
Like
yes.
my friend's story, right? So.
Exactly. So if he's 18, he's 18. He's an adult. When did that stop being the age of being an adult?
Obamacare, 26 and your parents. That's crazy. Right.
It is nuts.
Well, remember, all I have left is hatred and APR coffee.
And APR coffee. Did you notice I didn't come in with a carbonated drink? By the way, it was always Diet Coke, but I'm not even going to say what I'm trying to do. I'm just. Did you notice I didn't?
I noticed you don't have any M&Ms here.
Shut up. Just shut up. Just leave me alone.
Somebody bring Brad M&Ms. I want you to start eating them again.
I can quit sugar anytime
I want. How dare you?
I don't need it.
The nice thing about American Pride Roasters coffee, the official coffee of MoJo50.com, is that you don't need a lot of sugar, even if you like sugary coffees. I mean, like,
oh, they're good.
Sugary coffee, sugary drinks like that. They didn't build an empire at Starbucks because the basic coffee is good.
It's funny you mentioned that, because the other day I drove through Starbucks and got one, and I was analyzing the taste of the coffee. You're right. Their
basic coffee is not good.
It's
just they load it up with sugar and caramel and whipped cream and all that stuff. And it's great then. Wonderful. But I like just good coffee. And American Pride Roasters coffee is the best coffee in America. They got just the regular basic coffee flavors, like the George Washington is maybe the best coffee you can get. I like, I'm one of the few people that actually like some of the flavored coffees as well, as long as they're not like candy. I
love the chocolate sex with Ron. And didn't he make a coffee with that too? Is what's it called?
Sexual chocolate.
Sexual chocolate.
It's raspberry and chocolate.
I knew it was one of those. But the raspberry, there's something about the raspberry ones.
By the way, Ron stores it in his pants. So if you want it, you're going to have to fish for it.
I was just looking for the sexual chocolate.
I'm drinking the Bananas Foster again. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
Try American Pride Roasters coffee at AmericanPrideRoasters.com. The best way I can say it is for the flavored coffees, it's not like, there's a bunch of flavoring and sugars and stuff like that added. It's roasted with flavors. So when you drink the coffee, you're like, wow, this is good coffee. And depending upon the flavor, you just have a hint of that. It's more in your mind than it is on your taste buds, because it's like an after. So you go coffee, and then you're like, oh, I can kind of taste the chocolate and raspberry in the back end of it.
It's a tease. It's a little tease.
And it's awesome.
Who doesn't like a little tease?
And I've actually criticized him. As much as I like the Bacon Blast coffee, I thought it was going to be more bacony.
Right.
And they've had a couple of other people complain that
it wasn't bacony enough?
That it wasn't bacony enough, which it would be more novelty if it was like that.
Yeah. Remember the bacon shake from Jack in the Box?
Which was horrible.
Yes, it was.
Horrible. Yeah. The nice thing about like the Doc Thompson Bacon Blast, it's you ever have a big meal out at a diner? So you get pancakes and sausage and bacon and syrup and the whole thing or whatever. And when you get done, you still got kind of the I just had pancakes and that and bacon, and then you go and you take a drink of coffee.
Yep.
That's what it's like. So you take a drink of the coffee, and on the backside, it's like, oh, I had bacon before.
You get the
with my meal.
afterglow on the backside, is what you're saying.
With all the nitrates.
Wow. And without having to apologize or feel regret.
Exactly.
I
I like it. AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Communiques now with Brad's tags.
Double Doink Sleeve says, what I learned today, the only real crime in the Kevin Spacey story was the 18-year-old engaging in underage drinking. But again, not Kevin Spacey's fault, technically.
Listen, and I'm going to lay this out. We've joked about this. It's quite simple. I just wish everybody would remember, okay? We can speculate, we can joke, we can do all of this stuff. Personal freedoms are paramount. We must protect them. If this kid didn't want Kevin Spacey touching him or even speaking with him, then Kevin shouldn't have. Period.
If he told him to not speak to him.
That's number one. Number two, it's an accusation that is unproven.
Yes.
Kevin is innocent until proven guilty. Number three, public perception and trying things in public is outrageous and abhorrent. It will be one of the nails in our public American coffin if we're not careful. Kevin, number four, has the same rights as this kid.
Yeah.
Number five, when you put it into perspective, although it is absolutely wrong if Kevin did this,
yes,
it seems like the kid may be blowing it out of proportion because the difficulty
in handling
in Kevin performing this particular maneuver is not easy. It's a very high bar of difficulty.
Yes, it is.
Let's just move on. What do you
Yes. APR Coffee tweeted, we can't make the hatred go away, Doc, but we can make it taste better.
What a great slogan.
Oh, man, we should trademark that before he does.
Something.
And then license it to him.
Your life is still going to suck, but it'll taste better.
There you go. DMXDM runs sexual chocolate coming soon with more chocolate.
Sexual chocolate. It's got plenty of sexual in it, though. Holy moly. You just put Ron Phillips' name on it and pow, baby.
Yes. It's the mustache and goatee.
Make you want to drink it.
And the coffee is amazing.
And the coffee is amazing.
Sexual chocolate.
Jackal Angry Beaver brought up a very good point. How much is beaver excretion worth? This could be my new business idea. That's well, no. See, Beaver, you have to have castor sacks. If you don't have the castor sacks, you can't get the secretions.
Castor sacks? Can you imagine somebody that's trapping a beaver today for this purpose?
A euphemism.
And the beaver's like, oh my gosh, what's he going to do to me?
Oh, he's not going to tell. Ah, damn
it.
Dude.
They released him back into the wilds. It was horrible. There I was at a bar next to a piano, and Kevin Spacey walks in. He just wanted my secretions.
He just wanted to grab my castor sack. These humans are disgusting.
Animals have to be like that, especially like when they we pick them up to tag them or take secretions from them.
Ow!
They're like, Pete, where have you been the last couple of days? I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Seriously, where were you? Did you go somewhere? The humans got me.
They go to animal therapy.
Is it going to be like the aliens for us when we're like, they performed procedures on me?
Now you know what it's like to be abducted. Now you know. Just saying.
Like when they get the horses ready for to get the samples so they can.
I had a friend who had to do that. Tell you later.
This is the seditious, rabble-rousing, liberty-loving, home of fun, entertaining, and compelling talk. MoJo 50.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. We'll hear from President Trump tonight. He'll address the nation from the Oval Office, discussing the situation on the southern border and his drive to build a border wall. The White House is holding its ground as the partial government shutdown enters day 18.
The sticking point continues to be a dispute between the White House and Democrats over money for a border wall. And Vice President Pence says President Trump refuses to back down from his demand for $5.7 billion. The impasse has led to a 2.5-week closure of several government agencies, now the second longest shutdown in U.S. history. Pence says despite the shutdown, the IRS will issue tax refunds as planned. Greg Clugston, the White House.
An official Chinese newspapers warning Washington not to demand too much from Beijing. As talks on ending their tariff war entered a second day, there's been no word on possible progress.
The Global Times says the Trump administration is dealing with an increasingly strong China that has pressing needs. The newspaper said Washington cannot push China too far and must avoid a situation that, quote, spins out of control. Negotiators began talks Monday on their fight over Beijing's technology development tactics, but there was no sign either side changed its stance.
That's correspondent Jeremy House. Crews are working to reach people trapped in the wreckage of a rail accident in Pretoria, South Africa.
The two trains which collided are believed to have been transporting more than 800 passengers. Pictures posted on social media show at least one of the trains derailed.
The BBC's Namsa Maseko reports at least 4 people killed, hundreds injured. Amazon takes the crown as America's most valuable publicly traded company, edging out Microsoft for the title. The e-commerce giant's market value, $797 billion. On Wall Street, Dow futures up 227 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey guys, Ron Phillips with the Conservative Cartel. Are you tired of the bar scene, hoping to find the love of your life? Well, there is a better way for you single guys and ladies out there. Check out WeThePeople.dating. They make it easy to find a liberty-minded match, and it takes less than a minute to create a free account and begin browsing through over 11 million monthly subscribers. Look, we all know the success of a relationship hinges on the core shared values of a couple. So check out WeThePeople.dating for the love of people and people of love. Sign up and start dating today. WeThePeople.dating. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of a partner.
Hi there. This is Watson Prunier, host of Battle for Freedom on MoJo 50 Radio. Battle for Freedom is an endeavor about freeing people from the illusion of tribalism. Tribalism is the political presupposition that remains as one of the biggest anchors to gridlock and stalemate in society today. Most people do not even realize how they are tied to their ethnicity, their gender, sexual preference, and political party. Most conservatives believe that identity politics is solely an issue with liberals, and that's furthest from the truth. That's why I broadcast live on MoJo 50 Radio, Mondays and Fridays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is to reach anyone willing to be set free with the truth. Tell your friends about this Caucasianly challenged Christian host on MoJo 50 Radio. Battle for Freedom, Mondays and Fridays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us, our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com, use promo code DOC, and get 15% off your purchase. That's neverforgottenapparel.com.
Mothership has landed.
Oh, wow.
Never heard that one?
Nope. That's a good one, though. Too bad we...
You know what Kevin Spacey did on the way home? Got pulled over for speeding. Seriously. Cops pulled him over for speeding.
That is just...
TMZ has the story.
That just... I don't know. They knew what they were doing in that case.
Do you think they're just harassing him?
Yes. Come on.
And
there's video of it? Come on.
There is. One of the TMZ reporters pulled up, and you could see Kevin. Kevin was driving, too. He's got a younger man with him. Could be anybody. Could be, I don't know,
Right.
And you can see him pull away, and then the TMZ reporter, I got to give the reporter credit for questioning the cops, and the cops are like, hey, get back in your car, that type of thing. But
it's just, it's funny. He arrived in a private plane, but drove himself to court. That's a little weird.
This said this happened in D.C. though. And he was in
that the court
was Nantucket.
Was Nantucket. Yeah.
Right. So maybe I don't know how he ended up there, but
his
he said
arm
after
was
leaving
so long.
It's leaving Reagan National.
Does he live down there? Maybe that was after
that's
he got
probably
back.
what it
he
is.
Flew back to Reagan.
That's probably what it is. Okay.
Home.
I have a little clip for you of the dun, 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 of the exchange with the cops. So you can see the TMZ guy films as Kevin is pulling away. Mm-hmm. The cop's still standing there, and the cops kind of yells. Side of the road.
You said no. What do you mean? You cannot stop on the road. Oh, I'm sorry. You know that's Kevin Spacey, right? You know Kevin Spacey pulled out of there. Did he get a ticket? What happened?
Don't worry about it, man.
Is he good?
Get off the side of the road.
All right. Did you get autographs?
No, we didn't.
No selfies? All right.
TMZ, they're like the Howard Stern of
I mean, the cops telling you, get your car off the road or whatever. The cops don't like to be filmed like that anyway. No. So I'd be like, you know.
But those guys are not afraid to stop. They're probably going to get big money for that video, too.
That's true, too, yeah. So,
actually,
that one was pretty big. Yeah.
Come to think of it, I think I might be stopping on the side of the road, too. Hey, you know you guys pulled over Kevin Spacey, right? Guy's nuts. See?
Ask him and he'll show you. Hey-o.
Thank you.
Relief Factor, a proud sponsor of the MoJo 50 family, and we really appreciate them.
Until this very moment.
Until this moment right there. And Brad and I are proud to talk about Relief Factor. We've been fans of Relief Factor for quite some time. I've told the story before, and it's just amusing because Brad is usually so wrong about so many things, but he got the Relief Factor thing right.
Blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then.
I'm hobbling around for days, and I'm like, my back is killing me. It's actually my hip. And Brad's like, you should try Relief Factor.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, whatever. Crazy old man.
You a free bad.
And he's like, seriously, you ought to try Relief Factor. A couple days go by. Yeah, crazy old man. Mm-hmm. Finally, he's like, here's a bag of Relief Factor.
Take it, Dan.
Take it. And I think I even had the bag a day or so, and Brad's just like, I'm standing here until you take it. I was like,
swallow
all right, fine.
Swallow it.
Shh. Just take it. Swallow it.
It'll all be fine.
And he calls it the Spacey maneuver,
and it works.
And it worked. And sure enough, I think it was 4 or 5 days, and I started feeling the positive effects. The pain started going away, and mine was based on my sciatic. The odd thing was, it was the first time that stretching alone did not help my sciatic. I've had troubles with it when I run, and my nerve and my right through the back and the back of my legs and butt just
caught the old.
It just wasn't working the same way, and then I don't know if I was adjusting because of it, but the pain was more over into the hip.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't sit. I couldn't stand. It was horrible.
You were inflamed.
I was absolutely inflamed.
Yeah.
So 4 or 5 days, boom, I start feeling the positive effects. It's great. I used the Relief Factor for a while. And then I told the story in the air, and I was like, maybe it was just timing. Maybe if I had just waited 4 or 5 more days.
And that's fine to do that because that's the only way you know that it works for you.
So, sure enough, same scenario again. I'm like, try Relief Factor, boom, same scenario. 4 or 5 days, good to go.
I did the same thing. And as a matter of fact, I have upped my dose by 33%.
Don't try to do the math.
I know. I was trying to figure that out. So I'm taking 3 a day right now just because of my neck and trying to lift heavy things when your neck doesn't work the right way. So it's taking care of the inflammation.
Relief Factor, it's not a medication. That's not what it is.
It's botanicals.
It's botanicals and it works
omega-3s.
Right. Yeah, in fact, which omega-3s are, I mean, you think the omega-2s were good.
You know, when they come out with the omega-4s, they'll put those in there too.
Until omega-3 is your best bet. Look at this. It's got icariin in it. It's got resveratrol and and omega in it.
I think icariin, wasn't he one of the ones that flew too close to the sun?
I think so. On wings made of pastrami.
Yes. Never a good thing.
Try Relief Factor today. It'll likely work for you as it's worked for so many people. If you are in regular pain, not irregular pain, but pain that lasts a long time, not a flare-up, because you just happen to twist the wrong way for a day. It's not what it's designed for. It's designed to keep you pain-free, to get rid of the pain or lessen the pain. If it's something that you've had ongoing problems with, days, weeks, years, long periods, and you're like, it's just not working. Other things I've tried, or maybe you've been on medication and you're like, I'm not getting the same relief as I used to get.
Right.
Or you are uncomfortable with the side effects of all the medications.
Or you're just uncomfortable, period. The bottom line, it's an anti-inflammatory, but it's made of those botanicals and the omega-3, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's designed to be the anti-inflammatory, so if you are less inflamed, you're going to be in better shape.
Yep.
As you get older, too, you have other medications. You got all the side effects that go with it.
Yep.
I would say this. For $19.95, which is a 3-week quick start pack, and usually you see effects, the positive effects within 10 days, this is going to let you know for once and for all, whether or not it works for you.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, don't order it again.
Whoa, that is radical. Are you saying if it doesn't work for you, don't order anymore?
Well, and the reason I say that is because if you're somebody that has that type of pain, I mean, I just had the sciatic for, a week or so, and it's maddening. It's just, you can't get anything done. The pain is so you just start, just claw my face off. For people that have had pain for years like that, I don't even know how you've not killed yourself. Seriously. I know I've heard stories of people in so much pain they end up either contemplating or killing themselves because they don't know what to do.
One guy that was on Relief Factor had broken his leg years before and didn't know it. He was in all that pain, and the Relief Factor got him out of the pain. It's stunning. If you go to their website, you can see the testimonials.
It's
amazing.
relieffactor.com, or that phone number is...
Oh, it's 800-500-8384.
Well, number again.
800-500-8384.
Or just go to relieffactor.com.
It's so simple.
The University of Michigan has a professor of economics. His name is Mark Perry.
Yeah, but is he as smart as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
He compiled data recently that is available publicly based on the University of Michigan, salaries and such. And while doing the research, he did a search for those salaries, people that work for the University of Michigan.
All right.
And how many of them have the words or phrases diversity, equity, or inclusion in their job title. So how many employees have the word diversity, equity, or inclusion in their job title?
Like a director of diversity. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
How many people that work for the University of Michigan have either diversity, equity, or inclusion in their job title?
At least a dozen, I would think.
Yeah, had I not seen the story, if you had asked me, I would have said, okay, it must be big, or Doc wouldn't be bringing it up.
Right,
so I
yeah.
would say probably a dozen, but then I'd go, it's got to be more. 20?
Yeah, it depends on how many people.
25.
I mean, I don't know how many people work for the university overall, so it's
probably hundreds, not thousands.
Then if it's hundreds, if it's in the upper hundreds, maybe 20, 30?
Maybe 40?
Yeah, I would. That
82.
Yeah. Holy crap.
82 people that work for the University of Michigan that have diversity, equity, or inclusion in their title as part. In other words, that's their job.
To do what?
Well, they do all kinds. I mean, they diverse and equity and inclusion. That's what they do.
I guess somebody's got to do it.
Those 82 employees' salaries, along with other compensation, such as benefits, total $10.6 million.
Holy cannolis. So there's money in diversity is what you're saying.
Yes. For you people in Michigan or anybody in the country, because remember, our monies get commingled. University of Michigan is going to get federal dollars somewhere, how it doesn't matter. They're just it's going to impact you more. You're paying more for it if you're in the state of Michigan than not. But all of us are paying for this nonsense, directly or indirectly. $10 million for those 82 positions.
That would be, if it was all equal, it'd be around 120 grand a year.
Yeah, it's not equal, though. The highest paid employee is the school's vice provost for equity inclusion and chief diversity officer.
I'll bet their calendar is just full of meetings.
Tons of meetings.
I just can't imagine how much they have to do during the course of a day.
That person makes $407,653 a year.
Wow. $400,000 to
$407.
What do they do?
Please, they're the vice provost for equity and inclusion and chief diversity officer.
Which is hard to fit on a business card, but this is just so stupid.
With that $10.6 million, that would cover the tuition payments for 708 students. You could give 708 people free college in Michigan.
Wow.
And University of Michigan is a prestigious school.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, just going to college anymore is not necessarily.
University of Michigan spokesman said some of the University of Michigan employees have a range of other duties beyond diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Of course they do. You can't fill your day up with just diversity, equity, and inclusion.
That they said, there's more to it than that if you're just going to, talk about that. The problem is, if they do other things, why is equity, diversity, or inclusion part of their title?
Because it looks really good.
So you mean to tell me I'm the director of finance, equity, and inclusion? They don't go together. It's nonsense.
Which means that probably does exist.
Right. Why would you put inclusion with it unless it is the chief task of the person? The only thing what else would you put with it? Because he claimed
admissions.
Okay. Doesn't that automatically fall together? If you're admitting people, isn't there automatically going to be paperwork that says we're not allowed to discriminate against you and crap like that?
It's probably oversight on the admissions director,
right?
Which
why are you putting it on your card? You're admissions director. It just falls under your duties.
You would think so. And in any other world, if we hadn't fallen through the parallel universe, I would agree with you. But now it is such big money, and these lawsuits are so incredibly massive. When they get awarded, the jury awards the money, they have to spend money on trying to fight it.
He said diversity, equity, and inclusion is an important institutional priority for the University of Michigan.
Of course it is.
He said they have a centralized office of diversity, equity, and inclusion, the ODEI.
Oh, the ODEI, yes.
Right.
EI.
He said, but other schools within the University of Michigan and other departments have their own specialists to handle diversity. You understand? That's the reason there's so many.
So does Kevin Spacey. He likes to handle diversity.
You see what I'm saying? So the reason there's 82, you have a centralized office of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes.
But then within each school, the School of Law, the School of Pancakes, whatever it is, has their own equity officer.
Yeah.
He gave him some examples. He said, this is a spokesman for the University of Michigan. He said, student housing, even though they do not fall under the centralized office of diversity, equity, and inclusion, has their own associate director for diversity and inclusion.
Of course they do.
And that person makes $75,000 a year.
Wow. What are the job qualifications for this, I wonder?
Be a good whiner.
I think you're right.
Get butthurt over the smallest things.
That would
probably be a minority.
That would be ironic.
Be a progressive.
That would be ironic if the director of diversity was an old white guy.
Likely some of them are. Okay, so that's student housing. So student housing has, separate from all the rest of this, an associate director for diversity and inclusion. The School of Music, Theater, and Dance also has a diversity and inclusion specialist that does not fall under the ODEI.
Is that to make sure they have enough straight people in there?
I think so.
I think so, too.
That person only makes $109,000 a year.
Why are they worth less?
No, they're worth more than the housing.
Oh, that's true. They are worth more than the housing. I wonder how they figure these salaries out.
So, $10.6 million a year for these nonsensical, unneeded positions. How have these schools not simply become brainwashing institutions where we brainwash people into progressivism?
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that that's what they do. It's obvious that
well, just based on the University of Michigan spokesperson quote, diversity, equity, and inclusion is an important institutional priority. Folks, it's really simple. They're not talking about things being equal and equal access. That's not it. Because if they were talking about that, they would just say, hey, as long as people aren't being discriminated against, you're good to go.
It's a simple concept.
These people are out looking for trouble. These are not even solutions. These are detectives looking for problem. These are not even detectives, because that would indicate that there may be a problem. These are people inventing issues. And it's why wouldn't you? Because the more ridiculous thing you come up with, you get to keep your job.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
If you can, if there's a board of directors meeting, or the dean of the university calls in all the worker bees, everybody sit down. So apparently, based on the last report, there's very little discrimination at the University of Michigan.
Yeah.
We don't need you anymore.
Right.
But how much discrimination is going on at the University of Michigan with that many friggin' progressives running the place, all the professors and that? Well, if you didn't have this Office of Diversity, whatever. The reason we have so many, or one of the reasons we have so many of these crazy crackpot stories about universities saying you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't use this phrase anymore. You can't say you guys. Because these a-holes have to justify their jobs.
Yeah. That's where all the crazy rules come from. That's where all the crazy policies
and that starts the ball rolling. So when you go into your office today, or when you roll up into Doc's House of Flapjacks or someplace to do your job, that some weird corporate edict comes down. It starts in places like this. It migrates to some state level politician in California, like an assemblyman from the 43rd district outside of Fresno.
Yeah.
But they happen to be some crazy progressive. So what do? They introduce some law. And then it makes it all the way up to state law. And before you know it, corporations have to get on and there's lawsuits. This is one of the places that these nutty ideas are fostered and grown. And not to mention the fact that after 20, 30, 40, whatever years of telling students all of this crap, they have accepted it because it's easier to go along than disrupt the system.
If it's that massive in Michigan, how massive do you think it is at the University of California system?
Right, because you look at all the different schools, right? Now, what about nationwide? At just schools, not including, you can bet these major corporations all have diversity officers.
Oh, big time. Big time. And it's only getting worse.
Right. And what are they actually doing? Think about this. What do you do when you go in every day? Well, first of all, got to read Ebony today. The new magazine's out today.
Find out what's going to piss
Find
people
out
off.
what's out there. Then, of course, got to send out an email about Trump. Post something negative about Trump.
The racist. Trump the racist, yes.
What are their job duties?
They probably have to keep track of all the genders to make sure that they are being inclusive of every of the, 181?
182.
Yeah.
Which one are you forgetting?
That's a good question.
You don't recognize that last one. You're good with 181, but that last
one sent me over the edge.
I can't take.
Yeah.
No, the problem is there is nothing for them to do. If you're telling me as their job that they hear complaints, okay. So somebody comes in all butthurt because of the perception, or truly there was some bit of discrimination.
Right.
What are all of the other worker bees? Your dean, your housing director, all of that, your RAs, all of these people would be people you would go to. There's all kinds of systems and mechanisms in place for you to go and issue a complaint, right?
You can never have too many systems and mechanisms in a college.
But I will give you, all of these complaints I would believe could just be handled by whoever your dean of bitchy student complaints are, right? But if you say we need a special one just for diversity, okay. So your job is to handle complaints. Got it. How many people are issuing a formal complaint about something about race or gender or whatever?
That are authentic.
Okay, that are authentic.
Because we're getting a lot of the...
University of Michigan had the spray-painted N-words all over, and it turned out it was a black guy who was just trying to gin things up.
Which is proof right there that their little system doesn't necessarily do squat.
Right. So if you have somebody that's fielding all those complaints, and there's going to be a lot of them that are not legit, not even just by Doc Thompson shut up and get back to work standards, but normal people. Even some liberals are going to be like, dude, it's not that big of a deal. Just go. How many real legitimate complaints of somebody keeping someone down, denying them whatever because of their race, gender, religion? Okay. And then what do you do with the other 260 work days a year?
Yeah.
Because that takes one day.
Yes.
All right.
You'd think.
So they're out there looking to ways to make it more diverse. It's an affirmative action system disguised as a crime or a problem.
Yes.
That they need. We're out there looking for new things that could trigger people.
Yeah.
So it's like an affirmative action trying to give certain people legs up based on perceived or possible slights.
And you couple that with the national debt, we're doomed. We're doomed. What happened to the good old days?
Brad, this is what I mentioned yesterday. As annoying as this is all going to come back. It never stays. There's never an ongoing status quo. The only constant in the universe is change.
Yes.
And it's not, it's going to get worse for a while, or this level of craziness may continue. But a couple years from now, it's going to come back in a big way.
I just miss the days when you could walk in, you look at the secretary and say, hey, Toots, give me a cup of coffee. And as she hands it, she gives it to you, you slap her on the ass on the way out. And, So what happened? Where did we go wrong?
Because we didn't pay attention to this stuff and we were happy just going about our business. And listen, we're all focused on ourselves. Of course we are. That's fine. But you got to do the hard work. It is
smoking.
The progressives are relentless in trying to push progressive causes. Remember, libertarians, we were there. The Constitution, we're good to go.
You could have a drink. You could have a scotch and a cigarette sitting right at your desk.
Right. The good old days helped you get through work, right?
Man.
I don't know why Dad bitched about work so much now that
No
I think
kidding.
about it,
Yeah,
right?
he had it great.
Listen, it's time for another edition of Digging Up Dad. 10.26 million in diversity money. Okay, way to go.
Bury me again.
Exactly.
Bury me.
I think it's amazing how on like Mad Men, some real subtle, where he goes to lunch and buys a gun.
Yeah.
Brings it back to the office. It was a gift or something like that, and he has it in the office now. Guns in most offices.
Oh, they freak people out.
I knew a company that claimed to be right-wing. Crazy, extreme. I mean, right-wing, pro-Second Amendment. They preach this stuff all the time. And right on their front door, can't bring a gun in.
Yeah, if it's the one I was thinking of.
Could be.
It could be. There was a really crazy policy where half of the upper management said, you do whatever you want. The other half said, no, you have to run it by me.
Well, that would be a problem.
Yeah.
I am pro-Second Amendment, and I don't care. Carry your gun. You're only a problem if you're a problem with a gun.
Yes.
Everyone else is fine. And if you are pro-Second Amendment, you're definitely going to want to go to traguns.com. Tar River Arms doing a great job with their guns because you get amazing deals at Tar River Arms. From what I could see, if you go to traguns.com, not that I've studied every site or every available place, you're getting amazing prices, probably the most competitive prices out there.
Well, and their website is so cool.
Well, you get to see the guns in the 360 and high-resolution photos. In most cases, they'll take care of all the license transfer fees as you send it to your local FFA, and they'll even take care of the shipping. So amazing prices. They've revolutionized online gun purchases. Get yours today at traguns.com. That's traguns.com. More of your Daily Mojo coming back in moments on this MoJo 5-0.
I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me mojo or give me death. MoJo 5-0.
By the Numbers with Andrew Coppins is powered by TarRiverArms.com. They've revolutionized online firearm sales with high-resolution pictures, 3D imaging, and the best prices. How much will you save? Find out at TarRiverArms.com. That's TarRiverArms.com.
Never let a good crisis go to waste. So naturally, one of the first things the new democratically controlled House looked to take on was this antiquated thing we call the Electoral College. Democratic Tennessee Representative Steve Cohen introduced a bill to abolish the Electoral College within the first 24 hours of his party taking control. After all, it is the only way that Trump dude got into office, and that can't ever happen again. What do the numbers tell us about the need for the abolition of the Electoral College, though? Let's start with this number, 5, which is the number of presidents elected by winning the Electoral College, but not the popular vote, ever. Put another way, 91% of all of the presidential elections in the history of this country have had the same winner of the Electoral College and the popular vote. But what about this number, 2, as in 2 of those 5 elections mentioned before have happened in just the first 16 years of this century? There's no denying that number being true, but a very similar situation happened way back in 1876 and 1888, and then it didn't happen again until the 2000 election. Finally, there's this number, 6. That's the number of states that are more populous than one county in California, LA County. If we were to switch to a strictly popular vote, LA County and its nearly 75% voting bloc for the Democratic Party would effectively serve to cancel out the votes of people in one state alone. Now multiply that over to the various large metropolitan centers and tell me how that jives with this thing called federalism, where the minority was to be protected from the tyranny of the majority. The numbers suggest that this movement is a complete overreaction to recent times, and history suggests the polarization we feel today will not last. Perhaps it's wise to let history and numbers be our guide here and fight against this movement. This has been By the Numbers. I'm Andrew Coppins. You can follow me on Twitter at The Coppins Show.
Oh, you gotta love Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes. Yes.
The one thing I will appreciate about her is that she does not hide who she is, and I will give her a lot of credit for that. She does not hide the fact that she is insane.
Well, and the only thing she does hide is that she's a puppet.
Okay, I'll give you that. She is likely been crafted.
Yes, I do believe that.
I saw a tweet from Hannity where he runs down her platform, and then she corrected it.
Yes. Well, it's funny because the things that she corrected were really, it's kind of strange.
So he mentions, and this is a screenshot of TV, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's radical platform. Bullet points: government-funded universal health care. Ending military airstrikes.
Yep.
Permanent federal assault weapons ban, abolish ICE, cancellation of Puerto Rico's Wall Street debt, 100% free of fossil fuels by 2035, Green New Deal, government-funded college and trade school, 70% federal tax rate.
And she corrected him.
She didn't say any of those were wrong. She just added a few.
Well, she did. She said he's almost got it. Just a few corrections. First one is single payer health care, which he that's what he said. They're government funded universal health care.
Yeah.
So she either does not know the difference, or that they're the same thing.
Oh, no. It's the marketing. People don't know single payer. Single payer. What do you mean by that? Like, oh, one person pays. Well, yeah, I pay for my health care. No, single payer is government.
Yeah.
She doesn't want government attached to it. Single payer sounds better, probably.
Ending unjust wars, which is the what was
ending military airstrikes and stuff.
Yes.
Maybe she is already hiding who she is. I'm going to take back something I just said there.
Ending
she looks like she's
wars.
Right. She's marketing this. So I'm going to take back what she said. Why not just admit it?
And a 70% marginal tax rate on multi-million incomes.
Now, that one I will give her. He was not clear with his bullet point. He put 70% federal tax rate. That does make it sound like he meant across the board. He was not clear enough, so I will give her that.
Yeah.
Marginal is kind of a generic term. She could have just said 70% marginal. I mean,
it'd be the highest tax bracket on...
And would only apply to money made above a certain level, not to everything they make.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what she means.
Yeah.
Specific, but okay. The other two, single payer healthcare and ending unjust wars.
Strangely, the people who responded to her tweet weren't all in support of her.
Really?
Yeah. Although Mike P said I would say 70% income tax is fair. Is that what he said? Yeah. The people that think that I don't get it. What do they think is going to happen to the wealthy who create jobs? They're going to.
It's not even about. You're right about that, but it's bigger than that. I kind of touched on this yesterday. It sets up or heads us in the direction more of the feudal system. The feudal system. There were two classes. There were the noble class and there were the serfs. And that's it. One of the beauties of America is that there were many classes, not even just a middle class, because even within the upper class, economically speaking, or financially or fiscally speaking, there were many different levels. The top portions of the 1%, 2%, 4% or 3%, far different income than the bottom level of that. I mean, you could be in the, I'm going from just memory here, in the top 4, 3, 5, somewhere in there percent, if you make $250,000, $300,000 a year.
The top percent of, say that again, the top.
If you're in the top, I can't remember the exact percentage, 3%, I think it is, you will be in there even if you make like 250, 300,000. Go over the numbers. It's either 3 or 5% that you will be in that platform or that group, even making only 250, 300,000 a year. Yes, I say only. I say only by comparison. Listen, for me, hell, $150,000 a year is gargantuan. For most people, it is. But my point is that if you look at the top of that group, you're talking tens of millions a year they make. So you're automatically lumped into that group.
Right. Top 1%
goes from what, like 800,000 and up?
This is kind of a simplified chart, but the top 1%, 380,000.
Oh my gosh, see right there.
Top 5% is about 160,000.
You see that?
Top 10.
So 380,000, far different than the upper, the Jeff Bezos is out there.
Yes.
But they would have you believe $380,000, folks, is not rich.
No, it's not.
You're doing great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, you're comfortable, but you are by no means. You're not buying private islands.
Let's say you live in, you're making $400,000 a year, so you're in that top 1%, 400,000, right?
Yep.
And you live automatically in an area that is a little more costly. Not even like Manhattan, but so you're not at the low. Okay, so that takes a little bit down a little bit. Let's say you got 3-4 kids. Okay, and you're putting some away to college for all of those kids. They're all young.
Michigan.
University of Michigan, and you want to take a regular vacation with the kids a couple times a year, maybe go to Disney. You have a couple of cars, you do all this stuff. At the end of the month, you are not putting into savings $300,000.
No.
You're doing okay because you're going to put some away from retirement.
Right.
You're doing very well. But it is a far cry from Jeff Bezos sitting on $20 billion or $150 billion.
Yeah, big time. Big time difference.
But they would have you believe the top 1%ers. Capitalism and the free market and America's freedom, dedication to freedom, has created many, many different classes. It wasn't just the nobles and the serfs. It's many different classes with even that upper 1%. The middle class, very broad. The lower end, very broad as well. When you say a 70% tax rate on those rich people, what that says is all of you people that have already made that money, the Jeff Bezos, you've got $150 billion, you're already at the top. The ability for Brad to suddenly go out and get to that level with a 70% tax rate, because they're going to take that much, decreases significantly. Bezos got there when the tax rate was much less.
Yeah, he's made his money.
Right. FDR proposed at one point, are you ready for this? A 100% tax.
Holy crap.
On money made over $25,000. Now, $25,000 at the time was huge money.
Right.
I think it was $25,000. Huge amounts of money. But what does that do?
Well, there's no incentive to make any money.
FDR was already rich. So what you would have to do is make that upper $25,000 a year, or adjust for inflation. Say it's $500,000 or $100,000, whatever it is. You have to make right at that amount and save as much of that as you could. If you invest it, any of those investments are going to throw you up there and you're going to be taxed, right? Yeah. That's going to be income. So you could invest, do whatever, but you've got to save and build and build. And over the course of maybe several lifetimes, if you lived dirt poor, making that upper level, no kids, anything, you may be able to then amass a fortune back in those days of a couple of million.
Well, in 1944, the top rate peaked at 94% on taxable income over $200,000.
Look at that.
In today's money, that'd be $2.5 million. Which, again, you're doing all right at $2.5 million.
FDR was rich, very rich.
Yeah.
So all it does is stop you and I from being able to earn money the same way. Well, they want to say some people have too much. And listen, there is a huge disparity. Does Jeff Bezos need $150 billion? How much money? How many houses can you buy?
Right.
So I get the argument. But I believe in freedom. So need is irrelevant.
Well, and
they always say that. Do you need 14 guns? It doesn't matter. I want them. They confuse this. They conflate this. It's he wants it. He wants to do this. Let him do it. I also understand the money and influence in D.C. and what a problem that is. I get all that. But the solution isn't deny the rest of us the ability to go out and earn, which is what they're doing.
It's
the feudal, right? The feudal system was about control. It limited people to fewer classes, and that's what she supports.
Yeah.
But it's okay because there's actually a third class, the ruling class.
Yes. They are the ones really in control.
Right.
And they are the Schumers of the world, the Pelosi's of the world.
The top 1% pay 40% of all taxes. The top 20% pay 88.1% of all federal income tax.
Give me that one again.
The top 20% pay 88.1% of all federal income taxes.
Wow.
So as much as they want to complain about this stuff, the lower 80% only pay 11.9% of all federal income taxes.
Wow. I was reading somewhere that a flat tax hurt low income earners.
Listen, I don't care who it hurts. That's not the point. It's outcome as far as how much you end up with at the end is irrelevant to me. It's everybody pay your fair share, and that fair share should be based on percentage. Their argument is, well, the guy who made $100,000 a year paid 10%, and he's left with $90,000 afterwards.
Right.
The guy that earned $10,000 paid 10%, and he's left with only $9,000. Go get a different job.
Right. And again, that is what is supposed to be so attractive about America, is the fact that you can come here and you can make of yourself whatever you want. It's not about a minimum wage.
Right. And the incentive is then make more and you'll have more to keep on the other side of it.
Yeah, the harder you work, the more you make.
When I mentioned earlier some of the solutions to get the economy booming, one of the other solutions, and this is not just economic, this also has to do with crap like at the University of Michigan and all that other stuff. The way we fix some of this stuff is also by making poor people pay income tax. That you pay your 10%. Either it's a sales tax and you pay when you check out, or if it's going to be a flat tax, you pay your 10%. If 10% is good enough for God, it ought to be good enough for the federal government.
You'd think.
And how much does the state government get? I don't care. Work it out. I'm paying 10%. That's comfortable. Done. But you poor people should be paying as well. Doc, that's just insensitive and mean. No, it's not. It means you have skin in the game, same as everybody else. And when somebody looks down their nose and go, oh, the poor, you don't pay any tax anyways, you could say, screw you, I pay my 10% just like you do.
Yes.
And I have a voice and should have a voice in government. But it's real easy to start entertaining the ideas of people who suggest, well, maybe if you don't pay any income tax, you shouldn't get a vote.
That would seem fair. You have to have some skin in the game.
Well, and the reason why, and I hate the idea, because if you're a citizen, and only if you're a citizen, should you be able to vote. The problem is, you just vote yourself free crap. And look where we are. Yes. The ruling class just descends on their state or districts and promises them free stuff. Look at this. 80%. I'm sorry. Most people do not pay, as I just laid out. The stats, 20% pay 88%. That means 80% pay less than 12% of all income taxes.
Right.
Who are you going to get the votes from?
Yeah.
So you're the politician. You want to play the numbers. You're going to fish where the fish are. Mm-hmm. I'm going to pander to 20%. My competitor is out here pandering to 80%. It's based on who gets the most votes.
Yeah. That seems to make sense.
You're going to pander to the people, the 80%.
To the masses.
If you make, and all you have to do, if you're one of those 80%ers that pay less than 12% of income tax, maybe we should just pay. You don't have to pay anything. Hooray, you get elected for life. Couple that with you're also being kept down, darky, because of your skin color.
Right.
Sorry, woman, you have a vagina, or perceive or claim you have a vagina. You're being kept down too.
But see, all of these things are going to stay. They have to come to a head at some point. We've got all of these the different classes, the different genders, the people who identify as different classes, and you have the income tax structure. Sooner or later, all of this stuff it's two runaway trains headed on the same track toward each other.
Yep. Nostalgia is one of the solutions for you personally. We've given you some other ideas today. MoJoWildRice.com. If you're frustrated by this stuff, because most of us are not going to make that level of money, we got to go out there and find every little life hack out there.
Yes.
And Nostalgia Wild Rice is one of them. It is inexpensive by comparison to most of the stuff we eat, and it's healthy. You're going to live better, longer, and you're going to likely have more money if you do it right and follow the instructions. Go to MoJo.
Better looking, a better dancer. Go to MoJoWildRice.com. It's MoJoWildRice.com. It starts with that only native grain in North America, and that's the wild rice. If you're from that part of the country, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, you're probably not that familiar with it. It's more of a long grain rice. It's actually a seed, so it's primarily protein. Almost complete protein by itself. You know, the same level of starch. It's got trace minerals and vitamins. It's awesome for you, but it also tastes great as well. This is the pan bread. Have you had the pan bread? I have not.
This is awesome. This is the blueberry wild rice pan bread. So it's a little bit sweet. You know, it's kind of a sweet breakfast type thing, but you don't have the gluten in it, so there's no gluten. So if you're gluten sensitive or you can't have any other flours for whatever the reason, you have an allergy to rice or something like that, this is rice flour. And, again, still primarily a protein. So imagine you're eating a blueberry muffin today. How good is that for you? Not at all. Tastes good, not good for you.
Does taste good, though.
Blueberry pan bread, still got the same concept. It's, quote-unquote, bready. It's blueberry, it's sweet, but it's protein and healthy minerals. And that's just the pan bread.
It's a smart choice is what you're saying.
And it tastes great. You should be eating this stuff even if it doesn't taste great. Just go to MoJoWildRice.com. All kinds of wild rice derivatives, because they've got the polenta and stuff like that, soups made from it, but also the jellies and the jams and the syrups, the waffle mixes. It's all at MoJoWildRice.com. Check it out today. You'll be so happy you did.
Happy, and you'll be richer.
At the University of Montana Western, students could be expelled for RBF. You know RBF?
Resting bitch face?
That's the one.
They can be expelled for it?
Expelled for RBF.
Wow. I know a couple people who'd be out right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about people that are just bitches?
Now they're protected class.
They probably are.
Yes.
There's a female friend of ours that you had dinner with a couple weeks ago, I think.
Share the same initials.
Yes, that's right. And she says to me one day, she goes, "No, I have RBF." And I was like, "What? Resting bitch face." And I go, "I've never gotten that from you."
Oh no, yeah, no, she does. When she's just sitting there and no one's around, it's like,
I mean, I guess I could think about it, but when I think about it, I know what she's talking about, but she's always really nice.
Yes.
So maybe it's probably if you don't know her and approached her, you noticed it. But I always think of her as being pleasant and nice. So it doesn't register.
Yes. If you haven't read the book, you don't know that that's truly, you can't judge that book by its cover.
Right. And just wonderful. But she said it, and I was like, no, you don't.
And she's the one she knows it.
She said it to me, and I felt horrible. I was like, I've never thought that, but I was like, nobody else is thinking that. Maybe they are. But I just know her as being so nice, you know. So RBF is a thing, resting bitch face. You look bitchy.
Where can you get expelled?
University of Montana Western. They have a policy that allows for punishing students for, quote, mean words or, quote, mean facial expressions. And it may include expulsion in the punishment. So the student code of conduct says this: while discussions may become heated and passionate, they should never become mean, nasty, or vindictive in spoken or printed or emailed words, facial expressions, or gestures.
Okay, that's a reiteration of didn't it used to be? I'm thinking of Sticks and Stones break my bones.
What do you mean?
Names will never hurt. That's a if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
Yeah,
that's that. But to be we've become there are such snowflakes in the university systems now that you can't even say mean words, and then that is you have to define mean words.
Right. Well, and then facial, this is the problem.
And that's stupid. The facial expression, that's just stupid.
The friend Brad and I are talking about is a delightful young lady.
Yes, she is.
Except
for that one thing.
That one thing. She does have a problem with that.
But
she is just delightful, just nice, and can't say enough good about her. Nope. So if people perceive her as being bitchy for RBF, and she were to attend the University of Montana Western, she could be expelled for that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you got some dude with a penis wandering around claiming to be he's a girl and going into the women's restroom and all this other stuff. You've got people protesting on campus and Trump and all of this stuff. But our friend likely could be in trouble and expelled.
It's
up is down, black is white, front is back.
Yes.
It's crazy time.
Spock has a beard.
Right. It's the bearded Spock world. It also says that committing any act prohibited by this code of conduct may result in expulsion or suspension unless specific or mitigating factors are present. So in other words, you could be expelled for facial expressions that are deemed mean. Mean is very subjective.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And you could be expelled if it's a violation of the conduct code they just laid out. Therefore, you could be expelled if you have RBF and somebody deems it as mean. And think about it in today's world. You could just say, I don't like the way Brad was looking at me. Yes. I considered it mean.
And it goes on your transcript. And
right.
You've been expelled from a university.
For being mean, and it doesn't go into detail.
Right. Yeah, because they can't release that part.
Right.
They can't release the personal details about it. They can just say you were expelled.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to hurt people.
So now, how far off is it for me saying Brad should be expelled because I didn't like the expression on his face? And you're like, here I have a film of me every second, and I smiled the entire time.
It's what I look like.
And I go, I don't like you to smile the entire time. Or I want you to smile 20% more or 30% less.
We're backing ourselves into such a corner.
The way you looked out of the corner of your eye at me. Were you commenting on my wife's Asianness?
Maybe. Yeah.
You raised one eyebrow. How come you have a beard? It's endless because I am offended by it.
Is this where Gen Z is going to bail us out?
They are going to beat these people's asses. Yes.
I hope so.
And I want to talk about this as much as possible because I want to make sure they're nice and good and pissed off. Factors to be considered in mitigation may include the present attitude or past disciplinary record of the offender, as well as the nature of the offense and the severity of any damage, injury, or harm resulting from it.
God, there's so many words.
Meaning they get to decide whether or not you were in violation. So could you in today's world make a claim for RBF and say, no, but I have, they likely would make you prove it. Do you have to get a doctor's note? And what kind of doctor gives you a pass for RBF? Is it a cosmetic surgeon? Hi, Doc Thompson here for the Southern Cosmetic Center of Walla Walla, Washington. And I have a note here that says, yes, I've examined Brad Staggs thoroughly, and he does have RBF.
So I'm a protected class.
Maybe.
Maybe that's the good that comes out of this.
We need a fund.
A GoFundMe.
No, possibly. We just need to start an organization of people. The RBF fund. We just to make money. We could say we're putting it to good causes. We'll give it to our friend that has RBF.
That's not
She'll be in on it with us. She likes money.
That's true.
Right?
She likes freedom.
We need a spokesperson for it.
Yes, we do. She'd be a fabulous
And she's beautiful.
Yes, she is.
So beautiful and RBF and nice. Hi. I suffer from RBF. Give generously to the RBF fund.
Imagine what we could change the world together.
In the arms of an angel. We do that little song, right? Is that the one they do for the puppy dogs?
Sarah McLachlan.
And we show women, men in there.
With flies on their face.
With their flies on their face.
Yes.
Chained out back with RBF. Look at her out there.
She can't even make a sandwich.
She can, but every time I look at her, she has... Why are you so mean to me? I made you a sandwich.
Just let me out.
Stop making me hit you.
Imagine,
smile more.
Imagine how we could change the world. Please give today.
For less than a cup of coffee, you too can save some woman from RBF.
She could be making sandwiches again right now.
See? And you'll be a director. I'll be a director. You want to be a director, Ron? Ron will be a director. We don't have to do anything. We're just making money off of it.
That's the best kind of job to have.
Edit this all out. I don't want anybody to hear this, Ron. This is our ticket, our golden. I know this platform's not going to work. We need something else to fall back.
20 minutes, let's go!
All righty, that is it, ladies and gentlemen, the end of your Daily Mojo. But before we go, as always, let's find out what we learned today. We learned the only thing better than a beaver caster sack is a beaver caster sack with a Chicago gutter water chaser.
Shut up. Damn it.
It had that like sheen on the top of it, that rainbow. Floaty chunks. What was those chunks? Anyways, we learned that RBF is real and people are suffering. So give generously to the RBF Fund of America. The RBFFA. RBFFA. The RBFFA.
How many R's in Spreaker?
2, but not in a row. We learned getting abducted by aliens is like a beaver getting milked for excretions. Is that right?
I think so. I think you got that mostly right, yes.
Because it's with the probing in that.
Yes, it is the probing.
Bradley J. Staggs, what, if anything, did you learn today?
Ironically, I learned that bourbon made from beaver caster sack secretion sounds great, unless, of course, you're the beaver.
Oh, you're right.
Getting secreted. I learned you don't have to have...
Jerry Mathers as the one having his excretions gathered.
You don't have to have a penis to play women's tennis. Tell that to Billie Jean King. You know. I learned that if you are biting the jogger while holding your dog, you're doing it wrong. And finally, I learned the price for Doc's dignity is a single tweet from Kevin Spacey.
He has a lot of followers, right?
He does have a lot of followers.
How many followers would I get if he tweeted about me?
Oh, at least 10 or 12.
Maybe. If he could guarantee me like a couple of thousand real followers,
yes.
Yeah, he can put his hands down my pants.
I would, yeah. I would
hand, singular.
There you go.
It's going to be like 5,000 for 2 hands. Bradley J. Staggs, what, if anything, do the listeners learn today?
Over on the Facebook, Todd learned that Kevin Spacey likes bars with free nuts. I see what he did there. Then over on the MeWe, Peachy Jill Hole says I fully expect every meeting at my business to end with someone's hand in my pants now. We may have started a trend. I'm not sure. Kathy Ludlow's learned that Nancy Pelosi says she's committed to protecting our border. I don't think she means what she thinks she means. No, she really doesn't. And Dave Calderwood over on the MeWe learned that Kevin Spacey is an alleged cougar.
Oh, my gosh, you're right.
He is. He's the new face of Cougarville.
Does it work that way for men? Can men be cougars?
No, I think men just end up being perverts, don't they? And that's the double standard.
Well, even if he's hitting on young boys.
That's the double standard I can't get behind.
What do you call them then? So if older women hitting on younger men are cougars, what are older men hitting on younger men?
Actually, isn't there grizzly bears?
Is it?
Is it? Hey, Ron, isn't it grizzly bears when you hit...
Oh, Ron, he knows.
You know.
Yeah.
Come on. Just tell us what it is in your... What
when
is
an older man hits on a younger man, it's not a cougar. When you're out at the bars hitting, what do people call you?
What do they call you?
I don't have a clue.
Just come on. It's just us. Tell us.
It's sexual chocolate. That's what they call
it. Is, yes. And on the Twitter, MoJo50, privileged Larky Farkin, the idea of heavily taxing the rich is just the government's way of making sure they have more than the people. He who makes the money makes the rules.
I didn't get to the new numbers on procrastination today.
Damn it.
Somebody's got to do those. Can we just do them tomorrow?
I think we'll have time, yes.
What else do we have coming up tomorrow?
Oh, that heavy thing, but the thing.
Okay, we'll do that tomorrow then. And what does Matlock have coming up?
I guarantee you Clemson's in the forecast. It is in the forecast.
Remember, your Daily Mojo is today a Ron Phillips production. Sic Semper Tyrannis. Good night, Steve Cannon. Wherever you are. Anyang, now you go home.
Give me some sexual chocolate now.
Sexual chocolate. Oh, yeah. Ron Phillips and sexual chocolate.
This is the seditious, rabble-rousing, liberty-loving, home of fun, entertaining, and compelling